Now we have a country that wants to build nuclear weapons and blow us off the face of the earth. And I personally am getting sick and tired of people saying, why are we doing this? Why are we doing this? What do you mean, why are we doing this? You think we just picked Iran out of a hat? What have we become here? For me to take a position like this, I'm a warmonger. I'm Israel first.
Mr. Levin, Israel's Netanyahu's Mossad plan didn't work. We were right.
And was never successful in television at all. And Hannity got him that job on the weekends. It never rated. It doesn't rate now. Nobody watched it just because he's not good.
You guys are reviled. And you want to hitch your wagon up to us and have us go off on your kamikaze mission for Greater Israel.
The only impediment, the only obstacle to this beautiful vision is Hezbollah. They want war, not peace. They want death, not life. They will sacrifice as many of you as possible to achieve their sick aims. Don't let your future be dictated by medieval theocrats hell-bent on destroying our common civilization.
The whole world's turned against you. It's time to accept the gains you got blowing up most of Iran's equipment and their proxy armies. And you've got all your industry and per capita, you're the richest country in the world. We're falling apart. You should just shut up and go quiet and hope everybody moves on. But we know you're not going to do that. You're going to false flag to play victim. You're going to demonize your political opposition. You're going to continue to control Congress.
Who do you care about more, the American people or Israel? American people or Israel, sir? Who do you care about more, the American people or Israel? No answer? Who do you care about more, the American people or Israel? American people or Israel, sir? Who do you care about more, the American people or Israel? Well, who do you care about more? American people or Israel, sir? Who do you care about more, the American people or Israel? American people or Israel, sir? Is it so hard to say you care about the American people who you're here to serve? I'm trying to ask all members I can this question, very simple. Who do you care about more, the American people or Israel? American people. You are the first to have given me that answer, sir. Thank you. Yep. American people. Number one. You're
going to continue to primary people. You're going to continue to go around terrorizing everybody with the ADL, the Southern Poverty Law Center. And it's going to end in total disaster. I'm like the FBI with a bullhorn talking to the bank robbers that have got hostages saying, you're already in a lot of trouble. You want to spend 20 years in prison or do you want to have the SWAT team come in?
Come on out, Sonny.
And then even if you survive, you're going to end up on death row at the Supermax. Come on. Come on out. Come on. Put the gun down. Come on, Ben Gvir, Netanyahu. Stop it. You can stop doubling down now. You have somehow taken the Islamics that used to be the most unpopular people in the world and turned them into victims. What a spectacular job you've done. You know, Israel prides itself on thinking long-term. Well, you've not been thinking long-term or second, third, fourth, fifth order effects. Because if you did, you'd listen to all the former Mossad chiefs that are living and almost every former top general. They've all gone public for over a year saying Netanyahu is going to trigger a giant war that will end up destroying Israel. So for all of you Israel worshipers, you Christian Zionists, and you low-grade moron Zionists, and all the rest of you idiots, if I really had it out for the Jews and I really wore secret Hitler underwear, I would be egging you on right now and telling you you're doing a great job. Napoleon said never interrupt your enemy when they're making a mistake. Well, I'm not your damn enemy. I am an enemy of your psychotic leaders that are out of their minds and who know that if they don't keep a war going, they're going to prison. And I don't like being held hostage by Ben Gvir and Netanyahu. You like being held hostage by them? You got Stockholm Syndrome? You just go be mentally ill over there. But get out of our way. I want to thank the viewers.
All right, here we are. We've made it here. I'm going to have to throw this mouse away, I think, because it is not doing the business. Welcome to the show. It's June 12th, 2026. Stand by for while I fuck some shit up here. Hold on a second. Let me get my All right. Welcome to the show. Thank you for being here. Little programming note, what we got going on here tonight. We're going to talk a lot about Charlie Kirk. We're going to talk a lot about what Trump has done. Most recently, the things we're going to talk about Butler. We're going to talk about what Tucker's saying, what Bongino is lying to the public. Again, we know that we know his position now is to run interference for the White House. So we know this now. It's very clear to me. We're going to get into that. We're going to get into what Metzler's talking about with Q briefly, a little bit. We're going to talk about Tulsi Gabbard and what she's up to, which is very, very important, what she's talking about, what she's doing. If you don't know, she has talked recently. She's got a few weeks. Let's see, today's the 12th, so she's just under 3 weeks to go, and she plans on releasing a whole tranche of stuff. And she's starting with the bioweapons labs in 30 countries, 130 or 160 labs all over the world. And she's talking about that. We're going to get into that for a second. We're going to talk about what really happened to her with the whole thing with the White House, and what else are we going to get into? We're going to get into Israel, and we're going to get into the Iran war, and do we have a ceasefire? Are we gonna still keep bombing them like we have been? What are we doing? Like, what in the hell is going on? That's the truth. And so if you're new, please subscribe to the channel. It's totally free. Just hit the subscribe button. We really do appreciate it, whether you're on whatever platform you're on. We're on like 6 different platforms: YouTube, Getter, Rumble, X, and I think we're on Kick and maybe Twitch, and we haven't got kicked off of those yet, which I've only had to contact them like one time about some music, and they turned me back on, so that's cool. So we're just giving it a shot. We're going to see how long those last. I've been on YouTube now for several months, and that's interesting. So if you could go to YouTube, please go to Inspector Web. It's just Inspector Web with 2 B's, and subscribe to the channel. It really does help with the algorithm. We're working on getting our YouTube platform back up and running, because that was a really good platform before Biden took office. So anyway, we really do appreciate you being here. God bless you all. I want to say that up front. I don't say that enough. And in times like this, we need God in our life, and hopefully you believe that. And if you don't, just hang out and find out what you'll find out about God along the way, because God is definitely the whole reason why I'm here. So thank you for being here again. Where are we going? What are we going to do? What the hell's going on here? Well, so we're going to get this right out of the way right now. Kirk Metzler came out talking about the origin, and this is a shocker for some of you. I know it is, just like it was a shocker for some. It was a shocker for me to hear that Steve Bannon is in the Epstein files more than anybody else. I'm not saying that there's negativity, but the communications in the Epstein files, Steve Bannon's in there more than anybody else that I could find, or that anybody else has been able to find. And maybe I'm wrong. I'll totally take that. I don't know if he's diddling little girls and boys. I don't know that part. What I do know is he's in there all the way, and him and Jeffrey Epstein were the ones that created QAnon. So that's going to be a shocker to all you people that are, trust the plan. There is no plan. The only plan that we have is the one that we have right here, right now, and that's to get the word out and be prepared for whatever's coming. Speaking of which, go to my description and check out my Patriot Supply, please. Whether it's a water filter, so you're not drinking poison, or food in case they shut the power off, and you have backup for 90 days, 6 months supply. So, and the food actually is good. We went camping I guess it was in the fall last year, and we took some of the food just because I have so much of it. So we're like, well, we can instead of when we're on the side of the hill fishing, because we go in these little coves and fish. We go out there all day, and then instead of going back to camp, we just pulled some stuff. We a little bit of water, boom, and we had mac and cheese and whatever, and some meat. They have bags of meat. They have all kinds of stuff, and it's not bad food, really. I mean, it lasts 25 years. So if you get an opportunity, go check out the description. Click the link. It'll send you over to My Patriot Supply. Use my code, which it should automatically come up 843, and buy some restorable food. Maybe you need a generator. We are prepared after 2020. We're not, no surprises over here. We're ready for whatever the hell they come at us with this time. So just be prepared. That's what I want to say. All right, let's go. We're also going to talk about the 622 section 622. We want to cover that as well tonight. But let's get into this Metzler talking about QAnon and the origin coming from Steve Bannon and Jeffrey Epstein. Now that ought to tickle your pink, right? Yeah, the pedophile, the main pedophile of the world is working with the White House to create QAnon so that they can do propaganda across the United States, well, really all over the world, but for the American citizens, so that they would get on board with whatever was coming out of the White House, whatever swing or that they were going to do. And it was QAnon that was doing that. If you remember back in 2017 when it came about, there was this thing where they were telling you to trust Trump is like the second coming of Jesus, and he's going to save us all, and everything's going to be just fine. And you need to trust the plan. They got 62 chests and all this bullshit that was going on. And a lot of people bought into that, and they didn't come out and vote on 2020. And that was another reason why we didn't win in 2020. Well, we won, but we didn't win astronomically like we did in 24, because a lot of people didn't vote because they were trusting the plan, like the second coming of Jesus. Anyway, let's get into it. Let's talk about Kirk Metzler and what he's talking about on his podcast a few days ago. Stand by.
Lawrence Krauss tried to lure Rogan to Epstein Island.
I saw that. I saw that.
Dude, Rogan showed it to me a while ago, and he sent me one of the emails of Lawrence Krauss invite. Now this is this first arrest.
Dude, he's got over 1,000 emails with Epstein.
Who?
Lawrence Krauss.
Well, yeah, because he's a guy. My guess is in the pyramid scheme, he probably had to go out and bring new people in, like Nexium or something,
Mm-hmm.
But if you watch it, in fact, if you pull it up, it's in the very first 4 minutes. I know that in the new one. So, you know what the Trilateral Commission is?
Yeah.
So the Ayatollah in Iran, who's so bad, the only reason they have an Ayatollah is because the Trilateral Commission determined that. So that's null. That's which Rockefeller, the Satan one, David
Rockefeller, yeah.
The one that Anneke Lucas was owned by, that piece of shit. Him. Epstein says in the first 1 minute, he goes, Henry Kissinger and David Rockefeller, two of the biggest fucking scum fuckers that ever fucking lived.
Yeah.
Appointed him at age 30 to the Trilateral Commission.
Right. Just a kid from Brooklyn.
And he's not. The Epstein family,
Coney Island.
As we learn from the files, they go away. They've served the Rothschilds for generations. So the bottom line is, I think Epstein is the mouth of Sauron for the Rothschilds. That's why at age 30, you would put him in the Trilateral Commission, because he's their mouth. So he's above Israel, because Rothschilds are above Israel because they created it.
Yeah, exactly. And so they're in charge of the Trilateral Commission, and they're in charge of all these backroom deals and doing all this stuff while doing, because listen, so Epstein wasn't just a pedophile. He was also like the head of the Trilateral Commission. He was the Rockefeller, Rothschilds, like top dog. Like he was somebody that nobody knew the reach that he had until, now, where he's because, if you ask me, he's not dead. He's still alive. And we covered it, and we may cover some of it. Should we get into that? Where they're talking about the first week after Epstein allegedly died, $50 million came out of his bank account. Yeah. So before his death, he transferred all his wealth, or a portion of it, or whatever it was, to someone else. I don't know. I can't remember the name, to be the executor of his estate. And $50 million came out right away, right as soon as he died. Within, I think it was within a week, $50 million came out of his account. And by the way, he was well to do. If you don't know about Epstein, he was collecting money from everywhere and everybody all over the globe. And my dog is under my feet. Come on, you're gonna have to give me a little room here, okay? And so when you think about Jeffrey Epstein and how disgusting he was or is, think about all the other stuff, the arms dealings, the politics, the greasing the palms, the all the different things that he was doing was way more than and I've said this before, but it was way more than him being a pedophile. That was like for deals. He would have these rich people, these billionaires and all this stuff come to wherever, and he would give them whatever their flavor was, a little boy, a little girl, 3 little girls, a hot tub, or whatever it was, to grease the skids so that they would do these deals for whatever, guns, islands, whatever it was, whatever they were into, drugs, all that stuff. He was into everything. He was like I always say, he was like the guy downtown New York that he's got a trench coat and he opens it up and he's got anything and everything you need, from a toothbrush to a machine gun, inside his coat for sale. Jeffrey Epstein was that dude. Okay. And while he was there, he was the top Rothschilds. Okay. But anyway, let's get into this. So, make sure I hear the ding and I go, okay, did I lose power? You talk about certain shit and Google just knocks you out. I don't know. It's very interesting how that happens sometimes. It's usually the UFOs and the talking about the deep state where I lose sound all of a sudden out of nowhere. But anyway, let's get into this Q thing where this is the long version of what we just read, what we just listened to. It breaks it all down in detail. So stand by.
So, as you know, QAnon was invented by Jeffrey Epstein and Steve Bannon. It's in the files. The precursor to QAnon was called Cicada, and that was an online puzzle.
I remember that.
That was a beta test of QAnon.
No shit.
Epstein's a big gamer, you'll notice, and when he's talking about MK Ultra shit,
yeah.
Jay Dyer was talking to this chick Courtney Smith or Brown, very very good guest we should get. And he was like, I think you're the first person to, but no, I was on this podcast that no one's ever seen. I brought it up. So a lot of video game creators involved, because here I'll put it this way. I learned this about Jehovah's Witnesses that I was in. So Jehovah's Witnesses, there's not like a head guy that you worship like a god or anything. The founder, Charles Taze Russell, from the Russell bloodline. And that's important because your final OTO or Golden Dawn or whatever thing is to invent a religion. That's your final class project.
Yeah.
All of these, especially what LaVey was doing, all of them are all about slavery.
Oh yeah, that's the wrong one. Ha! That's great. That was fucking awesome. That was a complete flop on my part. Hold on, stand by.
So I'm not giving out any confidences here because this is already basically coming out. People figured it out. It's in the Epstein files. But now I want Bannon and other people who have the rest of the answers to explain themselves. That's all. Because all I know is Epstein's involved. That's a whole other ball game. And then now I'm very suspicious about how the whole thing played out and what I was told and what was done. So here's some headlines. Epstein met with 4chan's founder just as the site's infamous political thread began. Yeah, that's all true. And there's all these hundreds of emails, them talking about it, and meeting and Bannon and, all the rest of it right when I was contacted and all this stuff went on. So, here's just some of the headlines if you want to look all this stuff up. So, if you go back to the Operation Trust with the White Russians and the Tsars, they had a secret society against themselves so they could recruit everybody into it and then control the opposition. You just go to Wikipedia and look up Operation Trust. We put that on screen. So, again, I don't know all the specifics. I don't know all the details. All I know is I told you years ago what it was. I told you what I was told. I told you it came out of the White House. Now I'm naming names. And if people want to say what I've said is not accurate, then please elaborate. Because this is a big deal. Now, here's what Kurt Metzger said on the full interview. He went into it more. He's on the show next week. But he figured it out just reading the emails. So I contacted him, and he's sending me over a dossier of more research he and his team are putting together. He also co-hosts with Jimmy Dore. And we're just researching this and throwing this out to all of you to research it and see what you come up with to try to understand what it was really all about and where it's all going. And this type of technology of game theory they're using in politics to create a copy of the real thing, but to manipulate the general political system with that to then interface with the real political system once you've created a false template that you control as the dungeon master. Here's Kurt Metzger.
This is not a LARP. It's not a LARP, dude. This is an actual religion.
Can I explain it to you? I'd like to. Okay, so the LARP of it. So as you know, QAnon was invented by Jeffrey Epstein and Steve Bannon. It's in the files. The precursor to QAnon was called Cicada. And that was an online puzzle.
I remember that.
That was a beta test of QAnon.
No shit.
Epstein's a big gamer, you'll notice. And when he's talking about MK Ultra shit.
Yeah.
Jay Dyer was talking to this chick, Courtney Smith or Brown. Very, very good guest we should get. And he was like, I think you're the first person to, but no, I was on this podcast that no one's ever seen. I brought it up. So a video game, a lot of video game creators involved because you have, so here, I'll put it this way. I learned this about Jehovah's Witnesses.
Yeah.
I was in. So Jehovah's Witnesses, there's not like a head guy that you worship like a god or anything. The founder, Charles Taze Russell from the Russell bloodline. And that's important because your final OTO or Golden Dawn or whatever thing is to invent a religion. That's your final class project.
Yeah.
All of these, especially what LaVey was doing, all of them are all about slavery. So basically, when they talk about being a rebel and this and that, they mean for them. And if you're too stupid to see it, you deserve to be a slave. That's why one of the secret commandments of Satanism is don't be stupid, literally. I got this from Mark Passio, the ex-LaVey. He had a grotto in Philly.
What do you mean he had a grotto? What do you mean a grotto?
Your parish is called a grotto in the LaVey church.
That's what they call their churches? Grottos?
Know this?
Did not know that.
Called a grotto, like the Playboy Mansion had. Yeah, a grotto.
Oh.
An underground fuck palace. It's serpent shit. Anyway, they're not, LaVey's not an atheist. If you're an atheist, okay, you could be a Satanist who's an atheist. There's all kinds, Sam Harris, for example. You don't have to.
Sam Harris is a Satanist?
De facto. Automatically de facto.
You mean from your interpretation, he's a Satanist?
No, Satanism is about being, first of all, Sam Harris, no free will. He supports all kinds of objective physical evils, such as killing and shit. That's de facto Satanism. The good thing about Satanism.
But he wouldn't call himself a Satanist.
You don't have to. That's what's so great about Satanism.
What?
It's just pure materialism. You don't have to believe in nothing. That's fine. Believe in you. You're God. You understand the appeal?
But I mean, I'm just saying, like, Sam Harris, like, most Satanists I've met, they're just.
I will come back
Satanists.
with Jay Dyer to talk about this on the other side. But I told you where it came from. That's a fact. We'll be right back.
Yeah, so as we know, Jeffrey Epstein was more than just, and this is the weird part because I always followed Bannon for years. Like and is he just a political pundit and he was just, making billions of dollars off of Jeffrey Epstein? I know that they did some documentary on Epstein and all that stuff. I know that they did that, and we covered that way back when the Epstein files came out. Excuse me, about the communication between the lawyers and the producers and all that stuff. with about how to make Epstein look better than he was because he was disgusting dirtbag, right? But now, back in 91, I think it was 91, I might have my dates off a little bit, 91, 92, when the Rothschilds were, when he, what the fuck is his name? Anyway, when he was getting old, because, they all died a couple years ago, but they put Jeffrey Epstein in as the multi-generational servant to the Rothschilds, right? He was the fucking dude that did all the business for the Rothschilds. You know how evil they are, right? And so my thing is not just the fact that they created this Q thing that got away from them, because they also say that when they were trying to get Alex Jones to join the Q thing way back when, he never talked about it really because he was, he was under, privilege or whatever, because journalism, confidentiality or whatever. And until Metzler started talking about it, now he comes out today, talking about how they attempted, the White House attempted to get him to jump in with this Q thing. And he was like, no, I don't want to do that. That doesn't sound like something I can get behind, but you guys go ahead. And then later on, they had came to him and said that it got away from him and it got hijacked by whoever, right? If it got hijacked by whoever, because, when you think about the deep state and this globalism and all these corrupt people all over the world that think that we're just pawns in their chess game, or, we're just puppets in their movie, they do everything they can to basically steal your money and kill you off one person at a time, whether it's vaccines or whatever, spraying shit in the air, making all of our kids autistic, all that stuff. It all comes from these satanic people. Like, I think they get notches in their belt when they do this kind of stuff. The Bill Gateses and the Klaus Schwabs and all the people that involved in all that stuff. Like, Bill Gates is not a doctor, but yet he's in charge of all the vaccines and all this stuff with his money and all this stuff. So, I mean, when you talk about this stuff, it's bigger than, by the way, Bill Gates was in a closed door hearing 2 days ago for a couple of days, a closed door meeting on Capitol Hill about, I don't know if it was Jeffrey Epstein or whatever. I didn't get into it, but I know that they were out there. When he came out, and they were heckling him and stuff like that. But all these dudes are the same. Like, I know that Bill Gates's opening statement was something like he got blackmailed by Jeffrey Epstein, and that's why he was doing business with Jeffrey Epstein, because he was blackmailed. I don't know how you're blackmailed by somebody that's a pedophile unless you're involved in the pedophilia or you're making deals with him for any of the number of things that he was doing, all the corruption and all the, this persuasiveness and the blackmail and all the different things that Jeffrey Epstein was involved in, right? Including with Israel and, Ukraine and all these other countries, all these corrupt operations. Jeffrey Epstein was in the middle of all of it. And he was the head. He was the head dude running that. And he's still the head dude. I mean, I guess maybe we're going to have to get into it. And, and I don't want to get into conspiracy theories and stuff like that, but there's been enough people saying that Jeffrey Epstein has been seen and that he's alive for me to believe that that whole thing where he hung himself off of a bed that was 4 or 5 feet off the ground is ridiculous, right? The whole thing just, it doesn't pass the smell test. But anyway, let's move on. So I get a little wound up about this stuff now. One more thing before we move on about this. When all these people are on the internet talking about trust the plan, and you buy into that trust the plan, what happens is people get dumber instead of smarter, right? If you think that a white horse is going to come and rescue you, you're sadly mistaken. After what's going on now with Trump and the administration and all the good people are being removed, right? We're going to get into Gabbard here shortly, but all the good people are being removed. And the good people that are in there are working day and night to get everything that they can accomplish before they get kicked out of the White House. And that's from reliable sources, we'll say. We'll just say from reliable sources, that's what's going on. Now, this is it's just a corrupt operation. The White House, the whole, and you know what? I was so thinking that Trump was going to come in and help us and take care of things and get rid of people and do all this stuff. And, you know, I don't know if it was when he got, you know, allegedly shot, because now they're saying that that was staged. So I don't know. We're going to get into it. But maybe that's when he had his awakening, because you notice over the last year or so, his whole context about what he was doing as our commander in chief has changed. And it's all about war. It's all about Israel. It's all about all these things that he was against previously. So it might have been $250 million from Adelson. I don't know. It might have been when he got shot in the ear. It might have been any number of things. You got to move. You got to move. You're right under my feet. My dog is literally laying on my feet. So let's get into this. Let's just keep going here. I got some more for you here. Let me see here. Let's start right here. We're heading toward the Charlie Kirk stuff. So I just want to, let's finish this though first. I got a couple things that I just want to rebroadcast this, because I think if you listen to what they're saying, not necessarily who's saying it, but what they're saying, and you can put the pieces together, it'll be very helpful for you when you're looking at it for context.
If you were watching the Trump administration in 2025,
you would have gotten the impression that the Epstein files were a relatively minor issue.
President Trump suggested that nobody cared.
He said that the Epstein story was boring,
that this was a hoax.
These files were made up by Comey. They were made up by Obama.
But what we learned while we were reporting our book, Regime Change, was just how much the Trump administration, up to the highest levels of the government, were paralyzed over how to deal with a growing crisis. Their biggest obstacle was Donald Trump.
Trump wanted it buried. He didn't want to release the files. His staff knew that this was an issue that they couldn't really talk about.
People in his orbit found him snapping at them if they even raised the issue of Jeffrey Epstein.
So over the summer of 2025, you had some of Trump's most senior advisors, the top level of the government, gathered in the Situation Room,
which is typically used for national security or responding to national disasters,
to figure out a way to spin their way out of this.
Not with the president, but among themselves.
It was an issue that came back to bite them, because many of the same senior people who were in the Situation Room were very strong advocates for releasing the Epstein files way back even before the 2024 campaign, and potentially a client list, a list of powerful men who were, you know, the rumors had it, involved in sex trafficking with Epstein. We have seen no evidence that there is a client list.
But the idea of a client list had been popularized by, among others, Trump's future vice president.
Seriously, we need to release the Epstein list. That is an important thing.
His future FBI director.
Put on your big boy pants and let us know who the pedophiles are.
And his future deputy FBI director.
The Epstein client list, I believe, is going to rock the political world. There's a reason they're hiding it.
After he was elected, his own attorney general appeared to confirm that a client list existed.
It's sitting on my desk right now to review. That's been a directive by President Trump.
They go through the files and the message changes very substantially. Very quickly, it became clear that Trump himself was mentioned numerous times across these files.
Does not mean that anything said there was verified about Trump or anyone else, but it did mean that releasing the files was a non-starter for the president and his team.
In the coming months, there were internal conversations about, well, what do we do?
In early July, the Justice Department and the FBI released a joint memo with no names attached to it, just letterhead, saying, in fact, there was no client list and that there were no other people who should be prosecuted in connection with Jeffrey Epstein's crimes.
And all of a sudden, Many of his voters who thought that they were electing a president and people around him to get to the bottom of the Epstein story were suddenly feeling that they were actually part of a cover-up.
How many of you are satisfied with the results of the Epstein investigation?
During this whole period, Trump was just getting more and more fed up.
He was very used to telling his base what to think and having them believe him.
He accused his supporters of being weaklings. He said he didn't want their support anymore.
He used expletives to say this was all fake, and again said this was all the fault of Democrats.
Any attempts that Trump made to downplay the scandal only reinforced suspicions among his base that they were hiding something. So at those meetings last summer, when President Trump's most senior aides gathered away from him, the vice president thought that they should put everything out there, that Congress was going to force the issue anyway. Others, like the chief of staff, said absolutely no way the president would be okay with that. There was a conversation about whether Todd Blanche, who was the deputy attorney general at the time, whether he should go on Joe Rogan. The vice president said that he should be the one to go on Rogan.
What they didn't talk about was prosecuting additional men or any kind of widespread justice for the victims. We're talking about a number of women who say that they were victimized and abused by Jeffrey Epstein. Many of them were minors. The discussion in the Situation Room was not about how to give these women a hearing or a chance to tell their stories. These meetings were about how to handle the political fallout around the White House.
What ended up happening is their hand was forced by Congress. They ultimately passed, nearly unanimously, the Epstein Files Transparency Act. Trump was forced to sign it. And what was clear from our reporting is even after that, even after the passage of this bill and the release of so many of these files, the issue didn't go away at all. Maggie and I obtained a document written by President Trump's top pollster, Tony Fabrizio, which described focus groups that were conducted in March of this year.
It was the sixth most important issue raised by voters in this focus group.
Head of crime and safety, the military, data centers. I mean, these are really potent political issues that ranked below the Epstein files. More than a year after they first started to try to deal with the Epstein crisis.
He just simply could not make it go away by telling his supporters they should believe him instead of something else.
Yeah, and so we watched that transpire where he was talking, and then he went on to continue to do that with all his top supporters, talking about how, you know, Tucker Carlson, Alex Jones, Candace Owens, I mean, all of them. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, pops up all these, you know, I guess they're the new MAGA, you know, Ben Shapiro, who is a never Trumper forever, you know, Mark Levin, I mean, you know, Paramount Tactical, all these people come along and they're, you know, touting this thing about how, you know, Trump is the second coming while all this stuff is going on and Trump's trying to cover it up. And why he's covering it up wasn't really clear to me or anybody else, because there was no real thing in there that said that Trump had, you know, done anything with little kids. But there was some AI pictures that came about, which we knew were fake. But along that way, it just kept going. And so what happened? The Iran war jumps in, right? And then all of a sudden you got the Iran war going on, and everybody took their focus off of the Epstein files, except for the people that were digging into the Epstein files and pulling up more and more and more stuff about what was in the Epstein files. Still, there's only been, you know, the radical Democrats that come up with this stuff that says that Trump is in the files and that he did something, and they have court cases and all this stuff and, you know, all that stuff. But there was really, I've never really seen anything about Trump being like anything that was legitimate in the files. And so I was like, why in the hell is Trump so negated or, you know, so trying to get away from the Epstein files so bad? Like, what is it? Why is Trump, you know, doing this? Because all he's doing is ruining his poll numbers. His base is leaving. I mean, the majority of his base is gone now. Like, all the America First people don't want nothing to do with Trump anymore. And, and I always wonder, I still wonder what happened. What is it? Is it the Epstein files? Is it that he got, excuse me, he had this thing that happened in Butler, whether it was staged or not, or did he get the call that, you're going to be like JFK? I don't know. I don't know what happened. But as he started to turn, it got worse and worse and worse. And now he's going out and he's saying things like, he loves the inflation and all this weird stuff. And I think that could be, I don't know. It could be one of those things where he's diverting the information, the propaganda in a direction to get away from something else. So anytime that they do one of these things like this, I always try and look around the backside to see what they're really doing. So we're going to just keep going here and see what we're going to uncover some stuff together, but stand by.
So I don't know if you guys heard these latest Jeffrey Epstein revelations, but you're going to want to pay attention to this. Jeffrey Epstein's estate and his money is still funding witnesses that are protecting all of his pedophile elite friends. So how amazing is that? When you're a January 6er and you were labeled a domestic terrorist, they froze your bank accounts, you were banned from traveling, you were banned from this, you were deplatformed from social media. They took away your entire life, your livelihood, destroyed your family like that. Without any trials, without any hearings, nothing, none of it. And they put you in a cell for a year in solitary confinement. Yet Jeffrey Epstein, after being convicted as the largest pedophile in the world, his money didn't get frozen and taken and given to the victims. His money didn't even get frozen. His assets didn't even get seized. What in the hell is going on here, America? But Trump moved Ghislaine Maxwell to like a resort-style prison and got her a puppy. Check this shit out.
Right now, House lawmakers are taking a break from their interview with Jeffrey Epstein's longtime executive assistant, Leslie Groff. Victims allege that she arranged many of the massages where Epstein assaulted women and young girls, and she appears in the files more than 150,000 times. She has never been charged with a crime. Joining me now is member of the Oversight Committee who has been in the room with Groff, Democratic Representative from New Mexico, Melanie Stansbury. Congresswoman, thanks so much for being with us. What's your biggest takeaway so far from what you've heard from Groff?
Everything about this case is strange. I think the most important takeaway that I got today out of this interview is that when we were probing her about whether or not she received additional payments outside of her normal salary working for Jeffrey Epstein, she said that her legal fees were paid out of a fund that Jeffrey Epstein set up through his estate after he died. And so even in death, Jeffrey Epstein is still paying the legal fees of people who are witnesses in this case against him. So I think that was one of the more peculiar things that we learned today. Certainly, she worked for Mr. Epstein for 18 years. She was his primary scheduler who worked out of one of his main offices, and she spoke to almost daily massages that Jeffrey Epstein received. She claims that she did not find that strange, even though she was scheduling them sometimes multiple times a day, as well as acknowledged that she scheduled massages for other men, though when pressed, she would not provide names. So, I think we've filled in some pieces about this case and the operation of the Epstein world, but I think that she has been very careful in how she has presented her story.
Your colleague, Stephen Lynch, just told a reporter that Groff arranged phone calls with notable figures, including President Trump. What more can you tell us about that?
A number of different members of Congress and attorneys have asked her questions about her scheduling of Mr. Epstein with different notable figures. She did say that she scheduled meetings with Trump and connected their calls, but she also noted that she did the same for Prince Andrew. She scheduled other notable figures, including some of the individuals we've interviewed here in the Oversight Committee. I think this is known material. A lot of it is in the files, but it certainly verifies that we know that Trump had an ongoing relationship with Mr. Epstein and was talking to him, and that his personal assistant helped to facilitate those conversations.
A source told MS Now Groff told the committee that she never saw anything improper, but prosecutors say that she was responsible for Epstein's schedule, as you have just mentioned, his meetings and a lot of his travel, scheduling some of those massages. Based off of what you've heard so far, are you convinced that she did not know what was going on?
You know, she certainly has not admitted to anything in the room, and she has provided her point of view and said that she did not see anything improper. But I think all of us are taking this with a huge grain of salt, that somebody who worked for Jeffrey Epstein for 18 years, who scheduled daily massages with young women and arranged for cash transfers. She said in the room that she had arranged housing for girls that were brought to the U.S. by Jean-Luc Brunel through his modeling agency, which we know was trafficking girls from Europe. We know that she admits that, you know, she was intimately involved in arranging appointments. It's very hard to imagine how she did not understand what was going on inside his world, especially after she continued to work for him after his first prosecution. So, you know, the transcript will be made live, hopefully in the next week or so, and people can judge for themselves. But I think the fact, and the reason why I'm emphasizing that even in death, Jeffrey Epstein was paying for her attorney's fees, should raise some very serious questions.
Before I let you go, we only have a little time left, but Groff was named as a potential co-conspirator of Epstein's in several internal DOJ documents, but she's never been charged with a crime, as we noted. What's your understanding of why she was never prosecuted?
So I asked her specifically about DOJ's investigation, and she and her attorney said that they were interviewed in preparation for Maxwell's trial in 2021. She said that she was brought in for several hours, she was questioned, and she was not charged with anything. When we asked if she was given a plea deal or any kind of arrangement by DOJ, she said no. But we have not seen many of the files because the Trump administration is not released the files. And so we don't know exactly what DOJ did in this case after the Maxwell trial. So there's still a lot of unanswered questions.
Okay, got it. So you're telling me that Jeffrey Epstein's still alive. That's what you just said. That's what she just said. That's what they all just said, that, you know, Jeffrey. Did you catch the part? I don't know. Let me see here. Did you catch the part where she said that after Epstein was dead, that's what she said. After Jeffrey Epstein was dead, there was arrangements made by Jeffrey Epstein to pay her attorney fees. I heard that. Did you hear that? I heard that. I don't know. Anyway, allegedly, we gotta throw the allegedly in there, you know, because if we don't, then next thing you know, we'll be getting paperwork in the mail. So allegedly, Jeffrey Epstein is dead or not dead, and he's still paying people's attorney fees with the billions of dollars that he has in overseas bank accounts, I'm sure. And she probably has access to all of it because she was the scheduler and the one paying all the bills. It sounds like that she was very involved, and that's very interesting that she hasn't been charged. I don't know. What do I know? I don't know nothing. Anyway. We have more. Stand by.
Trump ordered the Epstein cover-up. Hell, he went public and said, don't look at it, you're not MAGA. Weeks after I said, I'm told it's Trump doing this, that ordered Bongino and ordered Patel to go out and fall on their sword like they're in the headlights in that famous Fox interview, and then go around and do a podcast tour on Joe Rogan, Theo Von, you name it, and say, no, he acted alone. He wasn't a child trafficker, even though his girlfriend, you know, was in prison for it, and he committed suicide, and you know, we're going to show you the footage, and they edit the video out of him at the federal detention center. So, Trump, no, don't. Tulsi Gabbard, Joe Kent, National Counterterrorism Center, don't look into the information we got about foreign involvement, foreign government, or any domestic help. Then I talked to the TPUSA, very high level, and they said, yeah, we talked to Patel about, what about these 10 people in the days before? 3 days before, 2 days before, and the day of. 6 the day before, 3 the 2 days before, and 3 or 2 before. It was a total of 10. Saying he'll be dead when he comes to town to give that speech. And that day, see, I told you we killed him. Like, why aren't you hauling these people in? I was like, God, it's trannies. Look, they said they'd do it. Here they are. He's dead. You got this famous globalist deep state operative popping up saying, I shot him. I'm the shooter. And he said to the police, I did that so the shooter can get away. And then that gets swept under the rug. I'm just like, whoa, what's going on here? Then I get calls from people in the cabinet meeting that Patel's like, I have this from the president. You want to hear from him? That's fine. Susie Wiles is in there. They're all in there. J.D. Vance. We are killing this investigation. There is not going to be any looking into foreign involvement or these other people that said he'd be dead. No accomplices will be looked at. And they told TPUSA, so I told TPUSA people, I was trying to work with them. I was having an open mind at that point. I was like, you got to talk to Patel and people. You got to ask them about this, why they're not looking at the 10 trannies and supporters that said he'll be dead when he comes to town in a couple days. And who celebrated and said within minutes of him being dead, saying, see, we told you he'd be dead. And so they did talk to Patel. Patel said, well, we probably can't convict him, and so we're just going to move on from that. What? So that's all directly from people in the cabinet meeting, TPUSA, all of it. And when I was getting pissed at Candace Owens when she was going with Mitch Snow, a known con man with these crazy stories about Fort Huachuca and 12 colonels, and he gets in the meeting and they're planning it all, I was just like, that's not how murder planning, assassination planning happens. This guy's a known con artist, convicted of it, all this stuff. I said, what about Patel and ordering the stand down? What about saying no foreign involvement, killing that? I mean, we had like real stuff. I was like, Candace, please look at this. I think she's overall a good person. I shouldn't have got so mad when her surrogates, probably not even her orders, came after me and said I was a Mossad operative and all that. I was just like, no, let's go after the real stuff. And then as I continue to say, it looks like Israel was involved. People go, oh, you changed your story. No, I never said that. I just said, you can't 2 days into it say it's Israel. We got to investigate. And then I got the information 6 days after from the cabinet meeting. And then TPUSA, I said, ask Patel this question when you talk to him. And then they did. And I mean, that's directly from these people. You notice I've been saying this for a long time since it happened. You notice none of them came out and said Alex Jones is lying.
Yeah. So, yeah, you know, I mean, one thing I'll say about that is there is a lot of sketchy shit going on with this whole thing. Yeah, you have the dude that you know that was there that jumped up right after Charlie Kirk was shot. Got it. Noted that this dude was been at every major catastrophe all over the United States for years. Like, definitely a deep stater. And what was the other thing I was going to say? I always thought that, you know, that this whole thing was funny. There was something wrong with it, the whole way it went down. Now they're talking about some other stuff that we're going to get into here shortly about, like, was Charlie even killed? And I'm like, I don't know. It looked like he got shot from behind, you know, from the ear back here, and it came out down in the face, in the neck. That's what I seen. That's what I thought. Maybe shot in the sternum. You know what I mean? But hey, you know, then they said lapel mic. Now they're saying that it was a blood pack. That there are all these different theories going around, and you know, we're just going to follow it wherever it goes, and you know, wherever it ends up is where we're going to be at. I had a point and I totally forgot it. I should write shit down right when I think of it, because you know, sometimes my brain it'll pick it up later and it'll be too late. So Escobar had something to say last week, and I think that with the Charlie Kirk thing, there's more to the story. Not only is there more to the story about the fact that they're all acting weird, they're all acting strange. Everything that they say is contradictory. You have all these pundits coming out and backing up their story, and their story is horseshit. And you know, let's just get into it, and then we'll talk about it on the other side. Stand by.
This is it. I think we found it. I think this is it. If you don't know me yet, I'm Ana Escobar. I follow Candace's investigation, I follow Barron's investigation, and I've been doing my own too. Barron came on and he showed us this tool. It's called Google Trends. We knew that overseas, our greatest ally, have been looking at very specific search terms related to the Charlie Kirk case. Maybe it's a coincidence, but maybe not. Something I discovered early on is that it was not just at our greatest ally that these Google searches were happening. I have reliably found results in Cyprus a lot. Like a lot. Why Cyprus? Why Larnaca? Was Cyprus promised to them 3,000 years ago? But I was like, but who is it? Can we find someone specifically? I wonder if these days mean anything, that they're looking at this stuff. Why is it that they decided on those days that they should be making these plans? I compiled a list. I went through and I compiled a list. What was happening on those days? Where was everybody at? Everybody. Like maybe they met up with each other on some of these days. I thought maybe they're all going to be like in a lair together. Like these people weren't actually doing the Google themselves, right? I mean, these important people, they wouldn't be looking themselves because that would be so stupid. So I put the list together. What I started to notice, well, they were in Israel. Okay, that's weird. Okay, whatever. Oh, that's weird. They were also in Israel the day that they were searched. Oh, wait a second. There's two. And in fact, they're going and they went to, do you know what airport that is, guys? Well, that's Larnaca. So, well, there's no way, right? There's no shot. Oh, another day that those Google trends were happening in both our greatest ally and in Larnaca. There's no way that the actual persons who were involved. Yeah, that's another one. Oh, August the 13th. That's another one. I found 17 every single occasion. 17. All of the days, they all had these specific days where these Google trends were happening. And reliably, every time, this aircraft, and there's 5 specifically, related to one person.
Pretty interesting. I should have cut the bumper music out and I didn't. But anyway, yeah. So I mean, the Google Trends tells you a lot about what's going on, where people were at, and how that who's looking at what. And that was very interesting when Barron was looking at that early on about there was so many hits for the different people that were involved with the shooting of Charlie Kirk and with the Butler shooting and all these different things. Like the Google Trends tells you, if you don't know, you can go on Google Trends and you can type in a name and it'll tell you if that name has had hits wherever the hits were coming from, Israel or Pakistan, wherever it's coming from. And that's what she compiled a list of where people were at. So, I don't know about her show or whatever, but all the information that we can gather is pertinent for what we're doing, because what my idea always is to just gather all the information. You make your own decision on what you think. So I have my own ideas, my own conspiracies and all that stuff, but I want to stay as neutral as I possibly can. And I'll admit, sometimes I have a hard time keeping my personal opinions to myself. But I want to be, in the middle and just give you the information and you make a decision on what you think, because at the end of the day, what you think is more important than what I think, right? For you, because I have my own opinions about what's going on. So anyway, let's keep going. Now, this video, is this the one? Hold on a second, because I didn't make my cut sheet and I should have. Oh yeah, this is the one. So Charlie Kirk did a show, and he was talking about the future of what he's doing and who kind of like the difficulties that he's having with different people and all this stuff. But he's very clear about the things that he was doing moving forward. And this is all you need to know about all the shit that's going on at TPUSA right now. If you watch this, probably watch it on repeat, because if you do, then you know that what they're doing over there isn't what Charlie's plan was at all. Not even close. Not even any of it. Because remember, right away, some of the people that Charlie had the most problems with were on the stage, at even his funeral or whatever, that wake or whatever they call that thing after his death, alleged death, and like Ben Shapiro, they hated each other. You know what I mean? Or they disliked each other. I know when you're Christian, you're not supposed to hate people and all that stuff, and I get it. But when you think about it, you're like, huh, that's very, very interesting. But anyway, stand by.
All we said was that we talked about it a lot over the weekend, and we're going to focus on other stories. And we talked about it a lot at the Student Action Summit, and your voices were heard. Our voices were heard. So this is what I said yesterday. Plenty was said this last weekend at our event about Epstein. Honestly, I'm done about talking about Epstein for the time being. Nobody, not a single news outlet said for the time being. They did not include that second part of the sentence. I'm going to trust my friends at the administration. True. I'm going to trust Kash Patel, Dan Bongino, J.D. Vance. It's their ball. It's their possession. I'm going to trust my friends in the government to do what needs to be done. I've said plenty this weekend, and the ball is in their hands. So if you guys want to see my commentary on it, that's fine. We have escalatory action being taken in Ukraine and Russia. We have tons of announcements happening when it comes to NATO. But let me say this again. You know my opinion about Epstein, the messaging fumble. I would love to see, this again, no one covered the second part of the statement. No one covered it. This thing has like 10 million views on social media. And unfortunately, too many people on our side fell for this garbage. And I get it, heightened. And by the way, part of this is I'm going to have some compassion. This is a very hot moment. Very hot. And let me be clear. I'm not trusting the government. I'm trusting individuals that you too also trust. You guys are all fans of Dan Bongino and Kash Patel. We are trusting that they heard you, they heard me, and they are working to fix this. Let me finish this. But let me say this again. I would love to see the DOJ move to unseal the grand jury testimony. We're going to talk about that with a guest later this show. I think this would be a big win, and I would love to see that. I'm going to trust my friends, Kash Patel, Dan Bongino, my friend Pam Bondi, all these guys. I'm going to trust them to solve it. Ball is in their court. I think there was, let's say, a lot of speeches that were directed towards this topic. That's it. And by the way, today we're going to cover it for nearly a full hour. But the media went out of its way. Let's just put 323 up there on screen again. All of these articles, so they won't cover the essence or the story of the Epstein story, but they'll cover the idea that somehow Charlie Kirk is moving on. Never was that ever said, and nor is that the truth. And guys, they heard us. Trust me, Student Action Summit was near complete messaging saturation. And so looking back, should I have said those 5 words in the sequence I said? Here's what I should have said. And what I was saying, and guess what? You say thousands of words on a talk radio program. Not all of them is as precise as you should have said. So this is what I was saying. Ball is in your court, guys. You are my friends. We got your attention overwhelmingly. Fix it. That is what I was saying. And this was a Mockingbird media hit from our guests, from a lot of people chose to bring it up all over the weekend, and that's fine. And to be clear, we think they can fix it. So what I want to make an addendum to what was said yesterday is we're going to keep on talking about it. When I said for the time being, I was talking yesterday. I was telling the audience, guys, I got a whole deck of stories I got to cover here. You see, they want to cover MAGA in disarray. And there is so much going on right now. So excuse me while I have an obligation to you in this program to talk about a rising kinetic conflict between Russia and Ukraine, to talk about ICE agents being fired upon, to be talking about the major issues with Mamdani. We have a Minneapolis Mamdani rising up. So excuse me while I'm going to use part of my program to talk about the other issues and say, hey, possession was in the grassroots this weekend. And now the possession arrow is in the hands of some of who we all call these people friends. The ball's in Kash's court. The ball's in Dan's court. The ball is in Pam's court. And I have over the years known to trust these people to be able to fix it. You see, but what's so disappointing, not disappointing, to an extent I get it, is that the MAGA base is so fired up about this. And that's why I didn't take a lot of this seriously. Is that, people were incoming, Charlie, why are you moving on? Why are you this? No one's saying that. No one is saying that. But people are so fired up that if there's even a semblance that this is not going to be prioritized, people get upset. And of course, I don't trust the deep state. I trust people that I've known for years. And what do I trust them to do? I trust them that they heard us because I know that they heard us. I know that the message of the Student Action Summit was heard around the world very clearly. And if there's one thing I've learned from you guys in the grassroots in this audience, you are not letting this story go. I know that. And never once did I tell you guys to stop talking about it. This is what's so maddening about the media coverage. They're so dishonest. MSNBC. Charlie Kirk tells audience to stop talking about it. When did I ever tell you guys to stop focusing on it? When did I ever tell you to keep the pressure off? Never. So I hope this is a learning lesson for a lot of people that might have gotten a little fired up about this. The media lies to you, and you should look at exactly what people are saying. And also, guys, look at what was done in a couple days prior. If I would have said that and there was no Student Action Summit prior, okay, I think like a medium level of intensity would have been justified. But after hosting the radio program for 2 days and literally over 20 hours of talking, I did 20 hours of talking, half of which was on Epstein this last weekend. So excuse me when I say, hey, I want to talk about rising home prices, and we're going to get to this story continually throughout the week. Hence, for the time being. And so with that, and all of a sudden people, after all that we've been through and all the trust that we've earned, people think I'm just dropping the story. It makes no sense. And for those of you that saw through that crap, thank you. We appreciate it. But we're not going anywhere. And we're definitely not losing focus on this story.
Yeah, so the reason why I played that the whole 6 minutes is because what he's saying, okay? What he's saying is trust in Bongino, Pam Bondi, Bongino, and, everybody else in the administration that we all trusted, that now we have zero trust in. Zero trust. I don't trust any of them. Not one. I mean, well, there might be a couple, maybe Ed Martin, wherever he's at now, whatever rock they have him under, because they pulled him away from doing the pardons and stuff, or, whatever he was doing. He was doing great work. And, there's a few of them, Tulsi Gabbard, Democrat, right? RFK Jr., Democrat, you know what I mean? And, it's very interesting that they're both on their way out, by the way, both of them. And they're working day and night trying to get as much done as they possibly can before it's too late. But we'll get to that in a little bit. These people are lying to us. They're lying to us. So Charlie Kirk, if he was, if he's seen what has happened in the last year, he'd be turning in his grave if he's in his grave, right? He'd just be turning in his grave, because all the hard work that he did to make this administration happen, and then this is where we're at. It's a sad day. Anyway, let's keep going. If I can find my thing here, let's see where we're at here. Let me look. No, this is a pretty good take. Let's do this one. This is the one where they're saying that they're trolling, but this is a commentator talking about it. Stand by.
If this is real and you put AI and you're lying on your dead friend's name. So, Vinny, what is going on with this TPUSA story? In this montage, they play, and they purposely put it in there, a fake AI video of Charlie Kirk saying, if something happens to me, everything could go to Erica. Can you please play this video? Play this part.
Passion, and now his mission is my mission.
I appoint my wife to run Turning Point USA if something happens to me. Erica would do a great job.
Okay. Are you guys ready for this? That is AI, and that was fake, and they purposely put that in there. And then, Pat, once it came out and the internet did its thing, and they found out that it was fake, this is Andrew Colvett, is he the executive producer of the Charlie Kirk show? I don't know where he's at in Turning Point USA. This is them getting caught and then having to play defense. Play this video.
We decided over the weekend we were going to troll the trolls. There's this video that has become a source of controversy.
Not even controversy, just obsession from bizarre people.
Yeah, just absurd. I don't even talk about it because I think the whole thing is so lame. And if
They
you're
demand
online,
overwhelming proof for the idea that Charlie loved his wife and would want his wife to carry on his mission.
yeah. Well, it's something he told all of us. We all knew. We didn't talk about it because we thought Charlie was going to be with us for another 50 plus years.
Yeah.
But like we all knew, the board knew this was the plan. Whatever. He said it one time in front of a camera at a private event with donors in Aspen. So we figured we'd troll the trolls.
Yeah.
And you get a little taste of it here.
The most important relationship in your life is the one that you have with your Lord and Savior Jesus Christ.
His passion was my passion.
What's AI
and now
been?
his mission is
Ready,
my
ready,
mission.
ready, right there.
To run Turning Point USA if something happens to me.
That's fake.
Erica would do a great job.
That's AI.
How do you know that's AI?
They just admitted it.
Is that what they let me hear it. Let me hear it.
Out there. But then, so we knew that it was going to be like, oh, it's AI or it's fake or whatever this, because that's what they do. They always move the goalpost here. And that's why it's a sucker's game to even play this.
But
But it
he's
was
not
really
saying it's
fun to
AI.
be able
No,
to
he is saying it's AI.
troll the
This is
trolls,
He's
stuff it in
trolling
their
the trolls.
face,
They
and
put
then
that
watch
in there.
them predictably
That's not
melt
real.
down when the evidence
No,
was
guys,
shown.
I don't know if he said it's AI. He's not saying it's AI.
What do you mean? We got caught, Pat. They're saying that they were trolling the trolls.
Humberto, is that what he's saying?
Yes. That's not.
So do me a favor, go under the tweet and go and check to see if Grok says somebody probably would have asked the question. I first want to qualify if that was a yes, specifically expert was presented as an AI generated or manipulated video of the organization. Okay, so perfect. So then let's go through it.
So
If
it is
AI.
Yes.
So
specifically the part where he's talked about.
Yes, and by the way, if you watch the video, the lips don't match the words. It's not that hard to do. If you watch the video, the lips don't match the
You
words.
guys lied. Fake AI, fake voice, fake Charlie, and then you're acting like no, we were trolling. I don't believe them.
And I don't either. And you, unless you think that that was authentic, it's not, because it's an AI video. And I mean, I have 4 or 5 different takes on it, but one's enough. I mean, they pull up the Grok, and the Grok says that it's AI, and that's all you need to know is it's AI. And they're trying to. That what happened was they put that out, thinking that because Candace has been up their ass about, show us the proof. Just show us proof that Charlie said this, and then then we'll move on. And so they put this AI clip up, and they got caught. And so they got caught, and then they're backpedaling, trolling the trolls and all this shit, and it is blowing up all over the internet. I mean, people are they're just tearing it apart. Excuse me. Listen, I wasn't a big Charlie Kirk fan. I mean, not that his work was great. He did good work. He was just his information was too late for me. Like I mean, I want the news that's coming next week today, and that's what I get. I go to the source of the best news that I could get, and and so I'm getting news. My news source tells me things that's going to happen in a month or 6 months or a year from now. And, all the pundits, all the, Charlie Kirks and, God bless them, Steve Bannon's, the Ben Shapiro, all those people, they're talking about stuff after it's already happened. They're not how do I say it? It's already been a couple weeks by the time, I mean, the story's dead by the time you get the story from them, because, that's the truth, because they've, it's after the fact. I want the news right now. I want up to date shit. Right. So, and if you want to know where you get that, it used to be InfoWars. Now it's Alex Jones Live. But anyway. So anyway, I wasn't a big Charlie Kirk guy, but his work was great. What he was doing with them kids, with all the youngsters, was great work. I mean, really. I mean, he went out there and he made free speech, and he would talk to anybody, and he would debate anybody. And regardless of you like how he did it or not, he was the kind of person that was working toward, like, the the First Amendment being something for people to stand on. And that's what he did. Now, he was good at that. And he was really good at interjecting thought with the new people, the new voters, the people that are coming up that only they just started voting this year or they're going to vote next year, brand new voters and all that stuff. And he was really good at that. And, I want to give him credit for all of that for sure. But what they're doing to TPUSA right now, what they've done, I think it's too late now, is they've destroyed the brand because Charlie was authentic, regardless if you liked him or not, or if you followed him or not. He was authentic. He was very authentic. He was a very good Christian, authentic man with a radio show, and he did really good work, right? He did good work. So what they're doing now is they just lie to you all day long, and they tell stories and they bullshit you and they come up with these, all this fake stuff and all that, and it's just like there's nothing authentic from one side to the other. They've gotten rid of all the good people, all the people that were, Charlie's, employees. They've gotten rid of most of them because they're afraid that they're going to tell the public what they're doing behind the scenes. I'm sure, right? Because remember they fired I don't know if it was a couple hundred or whatever, but I remember when that was happening right after within a month of Charlie not being here anymore, they start firing people or getting rid of people and some of their top editors, different things like that. So anyway, I just want to say that. And I think what happened to Charlie Kirk, if in fact it's true that he was killed, murdered, assassinated, we need to stay on this until we get answers. We haven't got any answers. Zero. Tyler Robinson did not shoot Charlie Kirk. I'm just going to say it. He did not. There's no way. It's impossible. Okay. That's not a real thing. Okay. So want to put that in your head right now. And there I go. I get off in my own belief system and my judgment. But look, don't be dumb. Charlie Kirk was not killed by Tyler Robinson. It's not a thing. Okay. And we'll show you and over and over and over and show you, right? But this is the thing. Some of the top tactical people like, Green Berets and Navy SEALs and, and top police officers and, FBI agents, all these different people have came out and said that doesn't match. The shooting didn't match and then now they have this whole news spin on it. And I don't know yet. I'm letting it just settle. It has to settle first once. And, like I've always said, I don't report on stuff until I know it's right. And so I'm very careful about giving you any information that's not verified. And so if we find out that this was a shenanigan and it was just a grift, then we'll cover it. But until we do, we won't. And I'll just show you what I got, and then you make your own decisions. And when I have a strong opinion, I'll let you know, hey, this is my strong opinion on it. Like Charlie Kirk was not shot by Tyler Robinson, fact. And then we'll discuss it. Okay. I just want to be clear that I'm not trying to sway anybody in their opinions on anything ever, except for would you vote for Pelosi for president? Hopefully not. But anyway, let's keep going. So it's going to get spicy now. So this is what's going on. So Tucker Carlson was one of Trump's compadres. He was like Donald Trump, President Trump, Donald Trump. He was like Tucker Carlson was like one of his main advisors, right? Like a civilian advisor. They were, at some point they were really close, and he really did appreciate his knowledge about different things. And they used to have lots of conversations about different things. And one of the things that that is hot right now is the Butler shooting. And Tucker was like, hey, they told me that that Trump basically put the capiche on the investigation of the Butler shooting. And so there's a bunch of theory that goes with that. And I'll give you my little theory, and then I'll show you the clips. The theory is, remember, I don't know if you remember this or not, but Charlie Kirk and Colvett or whoever it was, one of them was in a meeting with or was with Trump, and I want to make sure I get this right. And they were talking about Marion Adelson giving Trump, I don't know if it was the first bunch of money was $250 million or $150 million, $125 million, whatever it was, a large sum of money, donor money for his campaign. And Trump told Charlie, or I think Colvett was there, Charlie and that clown that was just on the screen, Colvett was there, and he said, I think Trump says to Charlie, I think I'll take her money and basically burn her. I'm not going to, when she asked me for the favor, I'm not going to do the favor. Because, when you get money from someone like Marion Adelson, there's a cost. You're going to do something. When you take AIPAC money, there's a cost. You're going to vote the way they want you to. All these things. Look what happened to Charlie Kirk. If in fact they killed Charlie Kirk, I mean, the prime minister came out the same day Charlie Kirk was killed and said, I didn't kill him, right? Twice. Went on TV shows and booked time on Fox News and all that stuff, right? So that was sketch right from the beginning. I don't know if you caught that, but that happened when Charlie Kirk was assassinated. So back to the story. So that was 2 days or 3 days or a week or something before Butler, maybe 2 weeks before Butler. It was just before Butler when Trump was running for president in 24. Okay. And so then, there's my theory. I'm trying to get to my theory. Sometimes I take the long way home, so I'm going to get there. So my theory is Colvett allegedly, you got to say that, allegedly told Marion Adelson that Trump said that, and then she put a hit on Trump. And Israel tried to kill him, or threaten him, or applied the pressure, whatever it was, whatever the deep state or the AIPAC or the Israel or Israelis or whatever they do, however they do it, however they apply pressure when you don't do what they say. Look what they did to Charlie Kirk, allegedly. And so maybe that was the moment when he was like, these people are going to fucking kill me if I don't do what they say. I don't know. It seems like it's leaning in that kind of a direction, right? Bibi Netanyahu 7-8 times at the White House, more than he's ever been at the White House in 20 years. The whole thing, right? The wars, all the stuff. He shows up, he tells Trump a bunch of stuff about what he has to do because they're going to have a nuclear bomb tomorrow and all that stuff, all the stuff to get us into this Iran war, right? And here we are, right? Now we're in a war. We have all this going on. And then back up to Butler. Why would Trump cancel, or why would Trump put the brakes on investigating him being shot at Butler unless he made a backdoor deal? That's what they do. Politicians, they make these backroom deals. We won't shoot you. We won't shoot you again if you do what we say, or whatever it is. Give me $250 million more and I'll forget that you took a shot at me. Now we're best friends. I don't know. Allegedly. I don't know. But this is theory. This is my theory. Okay. And it's a pretty good theory at this point. If you look at all the things, and I've kind of set this up to where you could see everything going on here because it goes all the way back to the beginning of the show. Okay. It's all connected. And I've said this over and over and over that all this politics, all this bullshit that's going on from top to bottom, side to side, it's all connected. The same players, same people, different faces. It's all connected. Okay. So when I say that, and hopefully you stick around for more shows than just this one, and you see what I'm talking about, because I try my best to lay it out to where we can, work our way up to the top of the ladder. Okay. Because there's a lot going on here, and it's a brainstorm. If you could get there with me, you'll understand what I'm talking about. And so Tucker comes out with Mario Nafal and says that on good authority, Bongino told him through messaging, text messages, and on the phone that Trump put the brakes on the investigation on Butler shooting. And we already know that he put the brakes on Charlie Kirk. We know he put the brakes on Epstein. So why is he not letting the investigations happen for all these things that are happening in our country to our people, right? So think about it. Before I play these clips, I want you to think about this. Trump's in the Gabbard, Tulsi Gabbard, Joe Kent, and others with Kash Patel, Dan Bongino. They're in the Situation Room. They're talking. Charlie Kirk's just got killed, assassinated. Kash Patel tells Gabbard, yells at her, and says, "You're not going to investigate this because they're seeing foreign interference right away. They want to investigate it. She's that was propped up since 9/11 for foreign interference. That's what ODNI was or is, and on authority of President Trump, you're not to investigate this. So now we got two things. We have Butler, and we have what am I saying? But we have the Butler shooting, which he put the kibosh on. We're going to play the clip in a minute. I want to show you what I got. And then I got a brain freeze here for a second. The Charlie Kirk murder. Okay. And why would he say, and Charlie Kirk is supposed to be like his kid, right? Like, Don Jr. came out right after the assassination and said that that his dad felt that Charlie Kirk was like his other son. Trying to piece this all together for you. Okay. I'm trying to piece it all together for myself, because every time we do this, I learn more about what's going on here. Now, why would he do that? Unless there's something that they got to him, or the details. How's it go? The devil's in the details, right? Let me play this clip. I have. We'll play one, then we'll come back, then we'll play the other one. Hold on.
I know that about Butler. I know that Trump shut down the investigation into Butler. That is a fact. Dan Bongino told me that when he worked at the FBI. And Dan Bongino himself was terrified when I spoke to him in December. It's such a long, boring story, but basically I came into possession, I beg your pardon, accidentally came into possession of a lot of the social media posts that we were told didn't exist, that were posted by Thomas Crooks in the months and years before the shooting. And I was amazed that the FBI had lied about this. So I called Kash Patel, and I later called Dan Bongino, and I says, what is this? I'm not attacking you. It was the previous FBI administration that did this. It was Chris Wray, but what is this? And Dan Bongino became hysterical with me on the phone. I've known Dan a long time, for many years, and always gotten along with him. Whatever his faults, nice guy, certainly very nice to me. I never had a problem with Dan, ever. And that problem began when I brought this information to his attention, and he became a different person. He was clearly terrified. I didn't get it at first, but he was hysterical. And ultimately, after a long series of text exchanges, which I still have, and phone conversation, he said, look, take it up with Trump. He's the one who shut down the investigation. And that was, I think, the first or second week of December. I think it was the beginning of the second week of December. I have it written down. But that was the moment and I realized, oh, wow, there's no good explanation for shutting down an investigation into your own attempted murder. Like, this is not what we've been told it was.
Tucker Carlson claims terrified Dan Bongino told him shut down Butler assassination investigation himself. 100%. Who do you think? I remember Trump, when it started getting covered up, he's like, well, I think we should look at that. There's some questions. Maybe they're not going to be able to for some other reasons. And I saw Trump then a few months into the cover-up last year. I've been about like July or August. And I went, that's it. He's covering up. He's covering it all up. And then, yes, he's the one, obviously, that told Kash Patel. The reason I know is Patel came in and said, the president wants this. Gabbard, you're not to be involved in internal intelligence, even though that office was set up for 9/11 to coordinate foreign and domestic so that the agencies all share information. So he yelled at Tulsi Gabbard. He yelled at Joe Kent. He said, I'm in charge of intelligence domestically, and you were ordered not to investigate it, and that's under orders of the president. I told you that back in September. Whenever the last time I was on Tucker in the winter at his house in Maine, we had to tape about an hour late, and I barely made my plane in Maine flying out that night because we were supposed to start taping at like 10 a.m. Tucker and I had breakfast, but he had to get on the phone with Bongino and Trump in his office, which is just right there through the kitchen, right there. He's in there talking to him. I can hear it through the wall when listening, but I can hear him talking and arguing. And he comes out and he goes, oh, my God, Bongino. It's so crazy. Don't tell anybody this, but, yeah, they've ordered a cover-up. And I don't know why Trump would order a cover-up of Butler, but this is this is a disaster. And he told me a lot more, obviously.
Yeah, so, I mean, that's why I said that that's why I'm saying that. Now, and Tucker has not been the type of person to tell stories, okay? Like, if anybody's authentic, it's fucking Tucker Carlson, okay? Remember, but anyway, there's more to the story, but a lot more to the story we're going to get into here in a minute. Like, how about this part? The day after the event, the attempted assassination of Trump, and Crooks got shot on the roof, and the FBI the next day is watering the blood off the roof of the building. I think it's a glass shop. Never seen that ever in my lifetime, that the FBI would go over and contaminate the evidence the day after a shooting. It just doesn't make sense, right? And then the other part is the autopsies. So, very interesting that, what was his name? Shit, what the hell's his name? Oh, Crooks. Crooks is dead, right? And Couture goes to the local autopsy guy, but for some reason Crooks goes to this other guy that is a examiner, and he's from Israel. It's crazy. The shit's wild. The shit that you find out when you start digging into this is just wild. I'm just giving you the information. You make your own decisions, okay? I'm just giving you the information that I got right here, and you make your own decisions, okay? Stand by.
I guess another big unanswered question I have has to do with this seemingly incomplete toxicology report, which, I hesitate to mention this because I don't know the significance of this, but the person who wrote this report, the medical examiner in Pittsburgh who autopsied Crooks, released the body for cremation with fragments and still inside, insists that Zalaponi never hit him, and then doesn't test certain specimens from Crooks or didn't put him in his report. This guy is actually a dual Israeli citizen who was in Israel after October 7th, helping identify the bodies there. So, again, this actually, yeah, this is in the front page of like the Pittsburgh Jewish Chronicle. And he's actually pictured, he's standing next to a guy named Chen Kugel, who is an Israeli and a source of a lot of these dubious claims about beheaded babies. And Goldschmidt's standing right next to him. I guess he volunteered and went over there to help. And again,
He is a dual citizen.
He is a dual citizen. Yeah, that's correct.
And he's the medical examiner who did at best an incomplete job with the autopsy or of the report anyway of Crooks.
Yeah, that's a hell of a 9 or 10 month run for his career to go from, responding to October 7th to autopsying Crooks. And yeah, again, I'm not necessarily suggesting anything, but because he's such a key player, we do need to know.
And he is not the medical examiner that victims, dead people in Butler Township, Pennsylvania would normally go to.
No, not at all. I mean, again, the excuse was that they had more advanced facilities, but then they do this kind of run-of-the-mill autopsy and toxicology.
So the fireman who was killed at Butler went to the local medical examiner, but Thomas Crooks went to this medical examiner, the dual citizen.
Well, Corey Comparatori was taken to Allegheny County as well, but they've got contradictory excuses where they say they took Corey there to avoid the press attention at the Butler office, and then Thomas was supposedly sent there for the more advanced facilities. So
the facilities that
different
allowed him
stories.
to be cremated with the fragments still in him and didn't list the testing of his hair. Okay. That's really, really interesting. He has not spoken to you, this medical examiner?
No, he hasn't. He did testify at an open hearing where Clay Higgins pressed him. Clay Higgins, say what you will about him, but I think he's been pretty good on this story. He's the only guy in government who's emphasized Aaron Zalaponi's heroics. And Higgins is trying to press Goldschmidt about, like, how could you possibly say that Zalaponi didn't hit anything? And Goldschmidt just insisted that the Secret Service was the only person who shot Crooks that day.
Yeah, so a couple things about that. And there's conflicting statements because where Cortor was at, the direction, and I did several shows on this back in the time when we were looking at the Butler shooting, where there's no way that where they were lined up from the roof, that the people that were on the back row of the bleachers could have been shot by Crooks. It was impossible. That it didn't line up. And you can go back and look at during the time, probably the first or second week, probably the first or second week after the Butler shooting. I think the shooting was June 13th, I believe. But we did the trajectory and all that stuff, and it just didn't line up. So there had to be a second shooter. But of course, they just completely just dropped out any investigation on any of that, and was just like, nope, we're not talking about this. We're going to sweep it under the rug, and we're going to clean off the crime scene, and we're going to move on. Like he was out there for like 45 minutes with a gun and a friend, what the hell is it called? A finder looking through it and do all this stuff on the ground. And then he was up on the roof, and they were saying, there's a guy with a gun on the roof, and nobody did anything about it. You move. She came right back over and got under my feet again. Come on, go, move. I know she loves me, but Jesus, come on, get off my feet. Anyway, all right, so let's keep going. We got more. Let's not give up now. This is a breakdown of that whole scene. Stand by. Okay.
Looked to me like it was real. And then the way Trump was all freaked out and the way it all went down, I mean, that was Al Pacino can't act that good in 10 takes. He's probably one of the best actors ever. Marlon Brando can't do it. So to me, it looks real. Looks real to me. Real people wounded, real people killed. I talked to folks, people I know that were there, weren't in the government. I mean, they were blooded. There were people getting their heads blown off. Firefighter, you name it, getting shot. All of it looked real to me. But I mean, maybe he's the greatest actor in history. One take, they all did it. Anything goes now because there is a cover-up. So what changed? But then why would you cover it up? And that is, well, because you went ahead and made a deal at that point. But regardless, we know he's covering it up. You walk into some furniture store, you walk into a mall, whatever, and you see a table with a bowl of pears and grapes and oranges on it. And from 30 feet away, you just look and you can tell it's fake. You just know what's fake. and when I watch Butler, the best sniper in the world when Trump's moving all around, can't just graze his ear like that. And it clearly, it's even on the video, the bullet going by. People got shot behind him. You can see another shooter, and it picked up acoustically. I had third-party experts on. You can see the bullet coming through, hitting clothes and bags, and then hitting a person. But then you got Green Berets, who's a really smart journalist, Michael Yon, saying he thought the whole thing was completely fake. I don't know. But I do know that Trump ordered it covered up. And he ordered Epstein covered up, and Epstein's so-called suicide, assassination covered up. And now you have Tucker Carlson telling you that Bongino told him that Trump ordered it covered up. And Tucker said in confidence, he's like, yeah, sorry, God, he calls me constantly. I just had to talk to Bongino. And Trump, you called earlier, sorry, we're getting started late. Yeah, don't quote me on this yet, but my God, this is crazy. I'm just trying to stop him doing a war, but it's Trump. He's ordering it all shut down. I'm like, well, that's killing him with his base. It's crazy. Why? He goes, I know. And now Tucker's publicly talked about it. And he told me a lot more, but I'm not going to say it till he says it. So we have to ask what happened. I don't know. 99% of what I do is just news, information, analysis of that. I'm not the conspiracy theorist. That's everybody else that just speculate all day. But we have to speculate here and ask, why is Trump doing it? Did he finally get the message of Butler? Did he go ahead and join Israel or that lobbyer or the military-industrial complex at that point? I don't know. Because I saw the left going, oh, if you're hit by this big bullet, they show a whole 223 casing and bullet. They don't even know that that's not fired out of the gun. It's just the 22 caliber rifle bullet. And they go, this hits your ear. You don't know. When something grazes you, and he had the little cut there, and they go, oh, it healed so quick, the little notch. Well, that's how ears are. I've never been shot with a bullet from a firearm, but I happened to get shot by a 22 caliber pellet when I was 10 or 11 years old. And it went in my ear, blasted out the back. Some of the lead stayed, so I had like a gray spot for a while. It's pretty much, can't see it now. But it bled like a stuck pig. But when it was done bleeding, that little hole closed up. And a week later, you couldn't even see other than the gray from the lead that stayed there. Like one time I was like second or third grade and fell down the stairs. And I was a nerdly kid. For whatever reason, I liked a pocket protector with my pins and my, I had a pocket protector, literally like Urkel. One was laying around free from some business or something I'd had it and got it from. And I just, I like pins. So I'm like, stick it in my little shirt going to private school, my little Christian, button-up shirt with a tie and all, a little pocket protector, and I've got my pens and my pencil. And I stumble and fall, pencil stuck in my chest, graphite, pull it out, and you can't see it now because I'm older, but I've still got a little gray spot from that, where we know where the graphite was. So, looked to me like it was real. And then the way Trump was all freaked out and the way it all went down, I mean, that was, Al Pacino can't act that good in 10 takes. He's probably one of the best actors ever. Marlon Brando can't do it. So to me, it looks real. But then why would you cover it up? And that is, well, because you went ahead and made a deal at that point. But regardless, we know he's covering it up. He's in charge. Where's the investigation? Where's the information? It's shut down. Bongino did all those shows, Mattel, how it was an inside job, and the shooter, and the other shooter, and all the evidence, all true. We were all over that as well. I didn't just believe them, I investigated myself. Hell, I had that stuff out before they did. My point is, it's not about, oh, I had it first. I mean, I was already on it. I already knew what they said was true. Then they 180 and say, oh, Epstein killed himself, and he had no accomplices, and there's no accomplices at Butler, and yada, 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 yada. And he wasn't a leftist, even though they were covering up all the social media that later came out. So there is a cover-up, and we have to ask the question, why?
Hi, folks. Doc Bigley here. And today we're going to get to know...
Yeah, so, so horrible. I mean, that this is going on. When you think about it, this is not what we voted for. This is not what we expected. I don't know what I don't know. It's very tough for me because I was such a Trump supporter. You know what I mean? I mean, I really was. I was all in. I thought that Trump couldn't do no wrong, really. I thought that he was going to save us from all this bullshit, and he was going to take out the deep state. Now he's with the deep state. So I don't know. I have one more. I'm pretty sure there's a breakdown of it. Let's listen to this.
Ken Silva, thank you very much for doing this. So you've written a book on the Trump assassination plots, the two from the summer of 2024, about which there are more unanswered questions than answered questions, and they're so transparently ridiculous, the stories that we have been told, my first question is, where are all the other books on this topic? Why did this fall to you?
That was my question too. And you're actually probably one of the only major media figures that's still keeping this story alive. So it's a pleasure to talk to you. But yeah, there were a couple of books published in the wake, like Selena Zito, who's a Washington Examiner reporter, wrote a book called Butler, but it goes more into the cultural aspects of like the Butler community and the political effects, the political fallout of the event. It's not really like a forensic investigation. This is the first of that kind.
Does Zito's book have a conclusion? Does it reach a conclusion about what that was? Or does she affirm the official story, which is this was a crazed left-wing lone gunman?
Yeah, it's more or less an affirmation of the official story. And again, just like the political fallout, that's more of the book. She was there that day. So there is like a autobiographical account of what happened, from when she got there, but it doesn't go into like the details about what happened over on the HER building or the security failures or who Thomas Crooks was.
So I'm going to state what I think is the official account of what happened in Butler that day. And then I would like you to just take us through what you know about what happened in Butler that day. So the official account is there's this weird local kid who really hates Trump, and he's been radicalized probably online. We don't really know because he has no meaningful online profile. He's like the only young man in America who's not online. And he's somehow a very good shot. And he somehow gets into the one vulnerable place at the event site in Butler Township that gives him a sight line to Trump, and nobody notices this because there are just these unaccountable holes in security. It's just amazing it's just a failure of security. And he takes the shot, he misses, he kills someone in the stands, a fireman, and then he's killed by a U.S. government sniper. And he had no accomplices. He's just a crazy person, one of many. And that's all we know. Case closed.
And that's bad enough.
Is that a fair representation of to this day, the story of what happened in Butler?
The biggest issue I would take with the official story about just what happened that day is that a lot of people think the Secret Service sniper actually saved the day. Everybody knows about the slope roof excuse for why they didn't have somebody posted there in the first place. The fact that that building was outside of the ostensible perimeter, even though it was, again, like 150 yards clear line of sight to Trump. But a lot of people say, well, at least the Secret Service sniper stopped it from being a lot worse. In fact, Donald Trump said that a couple weeks ago after this most recent White House Correspondents' Dinner attack. He's talking about, well, they did a lot better at that event than they did at Butler, although my buddy David saved my life at Butler. He's the sniper. His name's David King. And Trump says he responded in 4.2 seconds from 400 yards away. Neither one of those assertions by Trump are true, which is very bizarre that he doesn't know the details about the attempt on his own life. In fact, it was a local cop who saved the day. It was the alleged would-be assassin Crooks fired 3 well-measured, discrete shots, and then there's a short pause, and then he starts rapid firing 5 shots, and then the 9th shot comes immediately after that 8th shot, all in the span of 5 seconds, from the local cop on the ground. His name's Aaron Zalaponi. He was a Butler ESU member. And then there's 10 whole seconds that pass by before David King finally puts the final bullet through Crooks.
Thomas Crooks fired 9 shots?
He fired 8 shots, and then the 9th shot came from the ground from Zalaponi.
He fired 8 shots.
Yeah, there's only one little hole in that. Those 2 shooters, at least, at Butler. So that, he may not have that information, but I'm assuming he's a journalist. I don't know who he is, but there is a little hole in that because of that little thing. Now, I'm not going to bore you with the Bongino rant. I'm just going to skip that because I just can't stand it. You know what I mean? I was going to show you him talking about, now he's got this beef with Tucker Carlson. So now let's see, he's got a beef with everybody that's America First, everybody that's a patriot, everybody that doesn't think that Trump walks on water. So all MAGA or whatever they call themselves now, and it has a problem with Alex Jones and anybody that has a radio show that's that he's got a problem with everybody. So remember, he came out right after he came back from his short stay, 100-something days at the FBI, and he came back and he started just talking shit to everybody about everything. And I believe, I'll say it again, I believe that that Bongino is in for he's come back to run interference for the White House. That's my opinion. Okay, allegedly. All right, so we're gonna move on. As more comes up around this, we'll talk more about this. But for right now, we're just gonna stop there. I had some more stuff, but we're just gonna skip it for now because I think you get the point. Something's going on. Trump blocked it. Stopped the investigation on everything. I don't know why. I haven't figured that out yet, but I'm going to just keep digging around until I find something that's legit, and then we'll talk about it. But Gabbard, now I don't know if you know this or not, but she's out at the end of the month. I think the 30th is her last day, something like that, of June. And but what she said she was going to do, if you don't know this, is that she's going to do everything that she can to get the JFK files out, the all the the RFK, the JFK, the MLK, and everything to do with. All right, and everything to do with the 2020 and all that stuff. She's working on all that stuff right now, and she's got something. I'm gonna do this one with Burns first, constitutional lawyer. We're gonna do Robert Barnes first, and then we'll do the one with Gabbard. This is breaking, really. It came out today, and it's 120 biolabs in over 30 countries. Okay, but let's do this Robert Barnes first, so you get the context of where Gabbard's doing and how she's going to handle this stuff. Stand by.
So is she really leaving because the husband's cancer, or is she just done?
No, she was forced out. She was forced out. And so she wanted to have enough.
By the way, you have all the. I believe you have the sources to elaborate. She was forced out.
Oh yeah, the Tulsi Gabbard was forced out over the Iran war, and because she wouldn't publicly condemn Joe Kent.
Barnes, we're talking during the break about just how bad it is, and people behind the scenes like RFK Jr. and JD Vance, who we're not just trying to lionize. We know the inside baseball. This is accurate information. They're in between laughing and crying. Repeat everything you can say here on air about what's going on there.
Yeah, so there are people still trying to do good work, trying to restrain the president, trying to redirect and keep the sort of OG 2024 coalition voters' policy goals alive. And it's primarily now Elbridge Colby at the Undersecretary of Defense and his main deputy, who is very committed to trying to getting us out of this Iranian conflict and limiting Mideastern regime change efforts in general. It's Robert Kennedy and his allies at the HHS. Now, a lot of his people have been removed from power, been pressured or coerced out, but Kennedy is still working daily to try to get as much positive done as he can while he is still there. The Tulsi Gabbard is now out. Her deputy, Amaryllis Fox, is now out. That's Robert Kennedy's daughter-in-law. Both of them were not gung-ho on this Iran war or the direction of the administration and key reform aspects, but Tulsi is going to try to, before she's out at the end of the month, get as much intel and information she can, not only on the Kennedy and King assassinations that are still missing files that have not yet been produced, but also a Ukraine biolabs report, a COVID 2020 report about what really went on in the pandemic, and a 2020 elections report. And so now that she's been kind of pushed out early, her goal was to have until November to get that out. Now she's going to try to get out what she can here in June. And so but then Odie and I, there's one or two good people still left there, but that's about it. The reason why Colby was being spied on by the Israelis and his deputy is because the Israelis know that Colby knows that the Iran war was a mistake tactically, strategically, militarily, and consequently is trying to do whatever he can within his position as the number 2 at the Defense Department. You remember Colby's grandfather. He was the man, Bill Colby, who outed the CIA's family jewels. And he was a very patriotic man, but he didn't tolerate that kind of corruption against the American people. So that's the stock that Elbridge Colby comes from. Now, Michael Anton was at the State Department. He left because he saw the writing on the wall of where Rubio was taking things. Most of the good people are now out of the Justice Department. Most of the good people are now out at the State Department. But there are some key people left in the Health Department, the Defense Department, the sort of everyday analysts in the intelligence apparatus.
Sure. What does it say that the Defense Intelligence Agency came out and said Israel's the highest threat level? I mean, that shows that's not like one person or a group. That's official. That's a good sign, right?
Absolutely. That was a sign that Colby still had weight. He's the number 2 at the Defense Department under Hegseth. He will likely replace Hegseth, or I like to call him Heg's death. Max Blumenthal came up with that, but that's a pretty good, accurate phrase for him these days. But if he gets out, Colby could be promoted to the Secretary of War position. And Colby's a restrainer. Colby's a geopolitical realist. the national security strategy and national defense strategy, and that Riyadh speech that the president made early last year, that was against these kind of wars, were all penned by Elbridge Colby and his deputy. His deputy is a very smart guy too. He's part of the defense priorities before he came over the administration. They have allies in the Defense Intelligence Agency, and Tulsi did try to purge the bad faith actors, and got part of the way there. But the reality is that Ratcliffe it has undermined and sabotaged.
And that's
all
the
of her
CIA.
movements.
So is she really leaving because the husband's cancer, or is she just done?
No, she was forced out. And so she wanted to have enough.
And by the way,
time
you
to
have
try
all
to
the.
get
I
up.
believe you have the sources to elaborate. She was forced out.
Oh yeah, the Tulsi Gabbard was forced out over the Iran war, and because she wouldn't publicly condemn Joe Kent. Trump was enraged. He wanted everybody to go out and bash Joe Kent.
In a world where globalist depopulation is.
Yeah, so had a little malfunction over here. I spilt something all over the place. I barely missed my soundboard, which is great. But we're still here. You gotta love it. I've chased 2 dogs up my ass, and you know, in my little small space here. Anyway, so she's gonna take care. She now and you know this thing about Gabbard. She is always seemed like she's not part of the she's not like an insider. You know what I mean? She never has been. When she was in Congress, she didn't really ever show me that she was like part of the corruption or any of that stuff. She always seemed like a straight shooter. And you know, she was military. I think she was National Guard Reserve or something like that for a long time, high ranking. And so I really think she's going to make a run for it, for office, for like, you know, president or something. I think that she has a good chance of doing well, actually. But we'll see what happens, you know. But this thing, she's talking about the 2020 COVID stuff, the MOK, RFK, and the bio labs, and the corruption from the Trump's 2017 or 2018 impeachment and all that Russia hoax stuff. Go. Dog does not listen. Stop. Let's keep going here. My dog's gonna piss me off. I'll have to put her outside. Bump. Stand by. Tulsi Gabbard telling us about the bioweapons labs.
After months of searching through intelligence community holdings and files, today I'm releasing new evidence of long-standing U.S. government funding of more than 120 biolabs in over 30 countries. Now, these biolabs include labs in places like Ukraine, which could be at risk of compromise due to the ongoing Russia-Ukraine war. In fact, the intelligence community had previously warned that a US-funded biolab in Ukraine likely housed dangerous pathogens and remained vulnerable to longstanding threats of Russian attack, seizure, or damage. Now, until now, evidence regarding the full existence and funding of these laboratories had been knowingly withheld from you, the American people. Many of these US government-funded biolabs are currently or have previously engaged in research using hazardous and highly contagious pathogens, and in some cases included dangerous gain-of-function research with very little visibility or oversight. Now, President Trump clearly understands the serious threat dangerous gain-of-function research poses to the American people. And this is why he took decisive action over a year ago. On May 25th, 2025, he signed an executive order to end federal funding of gain-of-function research around the world. Here at ODNI, I issued new guidance to the intelligence community directing increased collection on these laboratories and facilities overseas. And we're already seeing the results of this increased collection. We're learning new details, for example, on clinical trials that are underway at these facilities, and that are raising significant ethical, financial, and security concerns regarding the supposed public health initiatives and U.S. national security. Now, despite the obvious potential for catastrophic global impact that research on dangerous pathogens in biolabs can have, politicians and so-called health professionals like Dr. Fauci, as well as entities within the Biden administration's national security team, lied repeatedly to the American people about the existence of US-funded and supported biolabs. Not only did they lie, they threatened those who attempted to expose the truth. So this release today breaks new ground, as the information surrounding the existence, history, locations, and funding of these US-funded biolabs has been intentionally covered up by very powerful people who falsely claimed that these biolabs didn't exist. Now, they accuse anyone who says otherwise to be foreign assets and traitors to America. Now, Odie and I will continue working closely with partners across the US government to identify exactly where these labs are and what pathogens they contain, to end dangerous gain-of-function research that threatens the health and well-being of the American people and people around the world.
Yeah, and so that is great news. That is really good news because, I mean, this is the problem. It's great news, but the way things happen in Washington, nothing will ever come of it. They know these people are doing all these different things, but nothing ever comes about it because they don't ever do anything about it. Look at all the people that did all the stuff in 2020 and all that stuff. It's just, there hasn't been a doctor, there hasn't been a lawyer, there hasn't been a corrupt politician, nothing arrested, period, none. So, I mean, that's great that she's, bringing the stuff up so people could see it, but I'd be interested to see what happens next. You know what I mean? Because you could show the information and getting an indictment with this administration. I don't know if it'll ever happen. So anyway, I'm going to get into the war. It wouldn't be the same without the Iran war, right? So I'm going to play this John Bowne report and I'll be right back. Maybe it's going to play for me. Huh, okay.
Usually, what is best for America is also best for Israel and vice versa. But on occasions, for example, an American president must make a decision that does not, in effect, give the Israelis a blank check. And one example of that is a decision that I made. I decided early on in our administration that we were going to seek good relations with Egypt and others of Israel's neighbors. Many of my Israeli friends didn't like that because they wanted a special relationship with Israel and Israel only. But I have always said that Israel's interests are better served to have the United States a friend of Israel's neighbors and potential enemies than to leave a vacuum which the Soviet Union would fill.
Netanyahu, in power for 25 years off and on, and not looking too good, I would add, with his heart problems and prostate cancer and the rest of it. You're like, great, hope he dies. Israel's so radical now, the rest of the Likud are even worse. He's a moderate.
Since October 7th, all Jewish organizations in the United States together have spent upwards of $600 million fighting this avalanche of anti-Semitism. I have one question. Has it helped? Has all this money stopped or even slowed down the hatred against us? The answer is no.
You hear a text message. I'm a red-blooded Texan. I always supported Israel, but I can't stand what they're doing. I'm turning against Israel. And then you trace the address to some basement in Pakistan, and that's something that has hurt us badly.
So that whole thing about bot farms did not air. Okay, the version that aired on TV included some of what we just played, but it was combined with a section from the very end of the interview, which focused on Israel's tactics to respond to the sentiment shift, not the shift itself.
Israel is besieged on the media front, on the propaganda front, and we're not done not done well with the propaganda war. No, we don't like foreign countries controlling us. We don't like paying for it. We don't like watching civilians murder. We don't like all over Israeli TV people bragging about murder and how funny it is and how kill the kids. People don't like this, and they don't like paying for it. Just like pro-life folks don't like paying for killing kids. Okay, Netanyahu, that's why Israel isn't liked, because of you.
Who attributes the reputational harm to Israel almost entirely to social media, which he calls the eighth front of the war.
It's this. This is yours, right? You're not immune either, because you can penetrate this machine. You can penetrate this little instrument, and you can say about Major Garrett anything you want, and I can paint you as a monster. And if I say it often enough people will believe it.
Is it your belief, Mr. Prime Minister, that nothing that Israel has done, tactically or strategically, has made no mistakes either in Gaza or the West Bank that have, in their own way, contributed to this negative impression of Israel, whether it's on social media or someplace else?
No, of course. Look, it's war.
And we see the atrocity. So I guess it is true that social media, we're able to see this now. And blowing up the Christian churches and the desecrating whatever's left. I mean, it's out of, and blowing up tens of thousands of homes and hundreds of churches in Lebanon and celebrating them. But now Netanyahu says to draw down to zero the American financial support. He said he wants military partnerships, okay? But here is Netanyahu on the war is over when he says,
Is the war with Iran over? And if it isn't, who will decide when it is?
I think it accomplished a great deal, but it's not over because there's still nuclear material, enriched uranium that has to be taken out of Iran. There's still enrichment sites that have to be dismantled. There's still proxies that Iran supports. There are ballistic missiles that they still want to produce. Now, we've degraded a lot of it, but all of that is still there.
Not just saying the war ends when he says, not just saying, oh, people are mad because of social media. No, they're mad because they see what you're doing. They're mad because they see the atrocities. They see the Israelis beating up and killing Christians. They see the homes being blown up by the thousands every week in Lebanon. They see the Israeli ministers on TV bragging, we're going to kill the kids too. And next is Turkey. We're going to get all of Lebanon and greater Israel and all the megalomania going on. And we control America. Ah! I mean, the only thing you don't have is flying monkeys and a witch flying around on a broom here with green smoke coming out the end. I mean, you couldn't act more villainous. That's why Israel has the lowest approval rating of any country in the world.
Yeah, so, I mean, say what you will. I don't know what's going on, really, except for we're being overrun by Israel. I hate to say that, but it's just the truth. We've been overrun by a foreign country. It's a damn shame that that our people that we put in office. I mean, if you look at the how many people just in Congress, House and Senate are funded by AIPAC, tells you everything you need to know about where we're really at and why we're there, where we're at, right? Because they all take hundreds of thousands of dollars or, thousands of dollars and hundreds of thousands of dollars and even millions of dollars from AIPAC. And so AIPAC controls everything. So it's not there's no wonder that we're in this war with Iran. Now, the interesting part for me really is the part that we've been told 40-something times that the war is over, that we've already won, but yet we're still bombing each other. It doesn't make sense to me. Like, if it's over, it's over. If it's not over, then say it's not over and let's figure it out. So I know that we had a ceasefire a couple days ago, and then right away they started shooting at each other again. I don't know. I'm not over there, so you can't listen to the propaganda. So I don't know if we're really fighting over there still or not, or if Israel is coming behind our negotiations and blowing up Lebanon or whatever. I don't know. All I know is what I hear, and it just isn't good. Like, we shouldn't be in that in the first place. I know we're there. I know a lot of people think that it's horrible, and a lot of people think that it's great. I mean, listen to Mark Levin. It's the best thing since popcorn, microwave popcorn. So let's listen to what Joe Kent has to say. But before we do, let's play this first. Stand by.
Kushner didn't buy it. Abesera signed the line. 1.4 billion Saudi cash behind. Name on the paper, Middle East money, Affinity made it. Shaw built bunkers, 3,500, nuclear proof, 10 miles under, straight over Toronto, 72 clicks, Adriatic gate, whoever controls it, owns the floor, owns the sea, not a resort, military, no whites and no golden beach, just concrete domes and tunnels beneath Saudi Arabia. Why do you need a fallout shelter in the Mediterranean Sea? Kushner didn't buy it, Abesera signed the line. 1.4 billion Saudi cash behind. December deal. Trump wins the crown, you seal the meal. Protesters bleed in Svarnik Port. What are you building? What is the cost? No sand, no beach, just bunkers. What do you seek?
Yeah, I wanted to throw that in there while I got situated here because I was a little off the mark here for a second after cleaning up the mess. So let's listen to what Joe Kent has to say with this about the Iran war, the truth about what's going on, and if we really do have a ceasefire or if it's even possible. Stand by.
What do you think about today's news? Do you think we're actually going to get the ceasefire and into the conflict?
I'm very skeptical. I just think the cards are stacked against President Trump being able to get a ceasefire. I mean, this is like the 40th time we've announced there is one. The fundamentals remain the same. Iran still has a good deal of advantages with just geography. They can close down the Straits of Hormuz or at least limit traffic on the Straits of Hormuz. Little effort. They've proven to be battlefield durable. So Iran thinks they have the upper hand. And then also the Israeli factor as well. We haven't taken any actions to actually constrain Israel. So any kind of violations inside Lebanon, et cetera, that's going to spoil the ceasefire as well.
Right.
So Trump continues to be stuck in like, we can't get a deal, but also like there's no military, path to victory. So that's why, I continue to recommend he should just declare victory and leave. He doesn't need a victory statement or a peace agreement to just declare victory and come home and kind of reset. That gets him out of this quagmire because there's no military solution. Diplomatic solution's not looking good. Just, if the rules of the game are rigged against you, don't play the game, walk away.
Yes, I think if you had to select the opinion of the average American when it comes to politics and war and what's happening right now, they would say that. They would say, we just want this to be over. We want it to be like it was before. We don't want inflation. We don't want high gas prices. We don't want to have to suffer through this because ultimately he goes out there and makes crazy statements like he likes the inflation or loves it or whatever he said. He says, well, there are going to be casualties, but that happens at war. We voted for a peacetime president. So I think people are seeing through kind of the myth of, this is going to be some sort of a short thing like Venezuela. Venezuela, I know the fleet was there. I know they prepped and prepared. They basically bribed the government. And they put the number 2 in power, and that was a very quick operation. It was a very easy operation. That was used kind of to grease the skids in a lot of people's view, in my view as well, and I think yours. I think I just saw the head nod there. That got Trump ready to do this Iran invasion, and it's been shown to everybody this is not something easy. This is something very difficult. Some would say I would call it impossible. Is there something that he can take away from this, kind of to present as like a boondoggle to say he's had a victory? Is that what he's looking for?
Unfortunately, I think he is looking for an actual, he's got his mind wrapped around a deal. He wants something signed. He wants the Iranians to say, You know, he even says this. He says he wants the Iranians to basically say, we surrender, uncle, whatever. And I just don't think he's going to get that from the Iranians. He's definitely not going to get it quick. I mean, it took Obama, I think, over 2 years to negotiate the JCPOA. So the diplomatic avenue, especially considering the fact that we killed off a lot of the moderates, that's going to be hard to achieve. However, Trump's like superpower. He can control the media very effectively.
Sure.
If Trump were to say, it's over, I won, and he just put that on blast to all the pro-Trump people, I think he could actually pull it off. And I think your average American, your average Trump supporter would be like, you know what? Good. I don't care if you did or you didn't get a signed piece of paper from the Iranians. If we're leaving, then that works. That's a victory. And then I think Trump could just sell that. Then he could move on to fixing other parts of the economy. And then really, too, if we were to just declare victory and leave, then the Iranians don't really have much of a justification for shutting down the Straits of Hormuz. Right now, in their public messaging, they're justified in shutting down the Straits of Hormuz because, you know, us and Israel there being the aggressors.
Right.
If we leave, we basically take that ball out of their court. Now, the Iranians will turn around and say, we won, we chased the Americans out of the region, but then they've got no justification to keep the Straits closed down. Trump can then turn to our domestic audience and be like, see, I got the Straits opened up again. So I'm stuck too with why he wants to just remain in this state. Could it just be his ego? Could it be bad advice that he's getting? Certainly. But if we stay in this situation that we're in, the only way out of this is further escalation. And again, there's like no way up the escalation ladder that we can win either, because Iran's a big country. We can't occupy it. We can't put boots on the ground without having massive casualties. So again, like the more he plays this out, and I know he knows this, because if there was a military solution, he would have executed it by now. He wouldn't have had an issue of saying like, yeah, let's go. But I don't think anyone at the Pentagon is giving him any kind of realistic plans, because there are no realistic plans for how we're going to like bring that country to its knees.
Well, it doesn't seem like an American operation. It seems like an Israeli operation in which we're the junior partner. And that's the reality that's making me and a lot of other Americans angry. We feel occupied. We feel like we don't have agency, right? And no nation, I don't care what nation it is, should put us in that position. The Pentagon, they just came out and raised the threat of the counterintelligence. Maybe you could give me the proper definition of what they said to the highest level up there with Russia and China when it comes to Israel's surveillance. And I mean, this has been widely known for years. Why do we accept this? Why do we tolerate it? And even more than that, getting into Section 224, why do we enshrine our relationship in law?
Yeah, in terms of the counterintelligence threat, look, it's been known for a long time. If you operated in the Middle East and in military and intelligence circles, it was always verbally expressed that, hey, if you're working with the Israelis, you've kind of got to watch out. Like, they're going to aggressively spy on you. They try to recruit people, et cetera. However, that wasn't like ever written down that I saw anyways. It wasn't formalized. So if the reporting is true, if the leak is true, and I don't know if it's true or not, and the DIA, the Defense Intelligence Agency, actually did indeed say, hey, Israel is as much of a counter-intelligence threat as Russia and China, that's very significant. That's actually like kind of a paradigm shift within the community of saying like, hey, these guys who ostensibly we publicly say are our ally and partner, they actually spy on us quite a bit. That's culturally very significant within the intelligence community. It's a step in the right direction too, for us just to be sober and clear-eyed.
Some of these things, they seem like cries from help, from our own government, from our own, leaders, people that we elect to put in these positions. A lot of times, you hear about these phone calls where apparently Netanyahu's hair is on fire and Trump says you're effing crazy, whatever. That almost seems to me like a cry from the president saying, I still have agency, when in fact we see that he kind of really doesn't. If he had agency, if he wants to prove that to the American people, he would leave right now, and he should leave right now. And like I said, criticizing, even hating on Donald Trump becomes basically a lot more hard, very, very difficult if he pulls out the next day. The stock market will go crazy. Everything will go nuts. Why, Joe? Why do we do it? Why must we fund war crime and endless slaughter in the Middle East over having that economic recovery?
Honestly, I wish I knew. And this is the question. I mean, Trump is a smart man. I don't believe. I know I've talked with you about this before. I don't believe the rhetoric that like he's senile, that he's dumb, that his ego's just got us trapped into this. I do think there's something else that's probably darker and more insidious within our government that is keeping him, that's depriving him and us of agency, that's keeping us locked in this conflict, because the obvious answer is just to walk away.
Yes.
And that's the big question. I can't quite put my finger on it. What I saw saw on the inside was, what I've described in your show before, just the echo chamber around the president, the access that the donors have. And is there something else there? I don't really know. But again, like, for the people that want to prove us wrong and call us conspiracy theories and discredit everything I'm saying, the simplest thing for them to do would just be to show that agency and walk away and have us restrain Israel.
Yep. And so I agree with that. I mean, do you agree with that? What do you think? Do you think that we should just be saying, hey, we're out? I mean, we win, and I mean, you're thousands and thousands of miles away. I mean, it doesn't matter what they say. You just get out. But if our ego's engaged in anything, it's hard to see something other than what we want to see when our ego's engaged. And that's a damn shame if that's the truth. And, I don't know. I'm not sure what I know that we've played the clips where, 350 different military bases have been, bombed, or there's been 350 different attacks or whatever it is over there. But I don't know. I don't know the truth because I'm not there. I don't know really what's really going on. I mean, I think we should just say we're done, we're out, we won and move on. But there's more to it than that. I think that if I'm going to say the truth, I think that we're compromised in a way that Trump is only going to do what the money people say. Marion Adelson or Bibi Netanyahu or whoever it is that is calling the shots. I mean, that's my take on it. But let's listen to what Jess has to say about the Iran war. Stand by.
The Iran war, that shit is back hot and popping, and reality has finally set in for Trump. It was over a week ago. Iran told Israel, if you blow fucking one building up in Beirut, Lebanon, we're going to come over there. We're going to kick you in the fucking teeth. Remember, Trump got on the phone with Bibi. He's like, you crazy fucking bastard. Don't you fucking shoot anything into Beirut. You turn the fuck around, right? And Bibi Netanyahu was like, we do what we fucking want. Well, Israel then managed to keep their dick in their pants for a whole week. But last night, they just couldn't fucking hold back any longer. They finally fucking launched a missile into Beirut, Lebanon, and Iran said, fuck you motherfuckers. Iran launched a wave of 10 waves of missiles into Israel. Only Israel. This is just between Iran and Israel now. They didn't hit us. The targets that they fucking impacted in Israel, U.S. intelligence says, for Iran to even know what those targets were and then hit them, they're like, holy shit, Iran has got their shit together. Israel freaking the fuck out. Their fucking foreign ministry cabinet, they're all on fucking X right now. We got to blow shit up. Iran has to burn tonight. Bibi Netanyahu's out there. We got to have a huge attack on Iran right fucking now. Bibi Netanyahu just called Trump. They are on the phone. Bibi Netanyahu's telling, we got to hit Iran right now. Trump actually fucking said the right thing for once. Trump said, yeah, you do what you got to do, but we ain't fucking helping. Don't fucking hit them. We should have some peace talks. Trump told him, don't hit Iran. Let's negotiate now. Doesn't sound like Israel's going to play ball. They're all over X. Bibi Netanyahu went right to X. They're going to fucking hit Iran all their own. Now we see what happens. Does Trump actually hold to his word? Does Iran actually go out on their fucking own? Does Israel go out on their own and try to attack Iran? That would be fucking hilarious. Israel has zero chance of fucking even surviving a battle with Iran without the US's fucking help. So if they launch shit, what does Trump do? Does Trump actually fucking hold us back? Because reality might finally have set in for Trump. Our economy is on the fucking line here. Gas prices through the fucking roof already. But the only thing that has been holding those gas prices down is Trump has been selling our strategic oil reserve on the open market at a loss. Problem with that is our strategic oil reserves are running out. Experts say we only have 3 to 4 weeks left before we start to see shortages. That isn't just the price goes up. That means no gas at the pumps. That's what that means. And then fucking prices through the fucking roof, right? That is 1973 shit. So Trump may have finally fucking figured this out because the straits, we got to have those motherfuckers open right fucking now because you're out on the 4th of July and there's no gas. that would be fucking riots. Like, that will be the end of fucking Trump. Trump's approval rating's already at 35%. So it might be a good time to start doing the opposite of what you have been doing, Trump. So now tonight we see what happens. Does Israel actually go at Iran all on their own? Does the U.S. actually hold back? By the morning, we should fucking know what's going to happen here. But thank God Trump has finally had some fucking come to Jesus moment with some semblance. He should have told Israel to fuck all the way off, and you better not fucking dare do a goddamn thing. But I guess I will settle for the slightest of silver linings of Trump saying, do whatever you got to do. We ain't fucking helping. We'll know by morning. Good luck to you all. Long live the Republic.
Yeah, and so they started bombing the next day. That's what happens. It's weird. It just keeps going. So last week I missed this. I wanted to cover it. Talking about the Hilo helicopter that got shot down. What have you heard about that? Because I haven't heard nothing about it except for this one report. And there was a couple, but they were pretty much the same thing. Let's listen to it. Stand by. It was a few days ago, but I think it was before Wednesday because I had it for my Wednesday show, but I didn't play it. So stand by.
You guys ready for some fun Trump updates? I am. Reporter, are you concerned, Mr. President, about the latest inflation number which came out this morning? Trump, no. I love it. I love the inflation.
Are you concerned, Mr. President, about the latest inflation number which came out this morning? Could that be a
No, I love it. The numbers were great. You know what I really love? I love the inflation. You know why? Because as soon as this war is over, I can say it now. Something you didn't know. We've been taking out millions of barrels of oil. Nobody knows it. You know who doesn't know about it? Iran until right now. We took out the other night 22 ships late at night with no lights because they don't have any radar because we blasted the crap out of it. We took out, that's why oil's $85 a barrel. I mean, you take a look. Remember when I did this, I said, look, the one bad thing will be we hit the best economy we've ever hit. And I said to my people, I had Scott, I had Howard, I had Pete, I had all of them. I had Todd in the room. I said, the one thing we have to do now, we had just hit the highest stock market in history, highest 401ks in history. Everything was going well. And I said, I hate to do this to you guys, but Iran's going to have a nuclear weapon very soon. We have to go and attack. So we hit them with the B-2 bomb.
And you guys know about this whole disaster right here, right? Trump thinks it's Iran, but I thought we destroyed everything and they can't even move a muscle, right? But they can somehow hit our Apache helicopters?
We're going to be attacking them very hard.
Resuming bombing?
Yeah, well, we are. Based on the helicopter, I guess we have the right to do that. They shot down a very incredible, actually an incredible machine. And at first they said they didn't do it. Then they admitted they did it. Sort of easy because we have the bomb. We actually have the bomb. They're very lucky that bomb didn't explode. That bomb was lodged in the helicopter. It didn't explode. It was on fire, but it didn't explode. Those two guys, they knew how to fly, but they got very lucky. And then we had the unmanned boat going very, very fast at speeds that you wouldn't want to go. That's why it's unmanned, I guess, because nobody can go in that. But they rescued. So both people are, fortunately, the pilots are okay.
And don't you think it's interesting? Our helicopter was hit the same day the USS Liberty was hit. How many years ago? Here's Alex Jones to give an opinion.
I was saying yesterday, I wonder if Israel will do a false flag on the anniversary. Well, Iran is not taking credit. An Apache helicopter of the Strait of Hormuz got shot down. The pilots were saying this is just now breaking. Trump says U.S. must respond after Iran shoots down helicopter over Strait of Hormuz. We can't find a statement yet. It's not taken credit for it. So Israel every time has gone in and hit Lebanon, hit other areas, hit Iran. Every time there's a peace deal, Trump said, don't do it again. And then is Trump going to just buy this? Why would the Iranians, now I know their forces are compartmentalized, and so I'm not going to say some Iranian with a missile might not have taken a pot shot at the Apache, but this has to be investigated as a potential false flag because of the timing. Victor Boot.
Yeah, I think Alex is also over the target.
Yep. And so Trump talking about, going in and getting, millions of barrels of oil and, all that stuff. And then in the night and all that stuff, that's great. I mean, I guess that's why our fuel hasn't been $2 $200 a barrel or whatever that number is. That's great. But like, so we've heard a lot of different stories. One of the stories was, they had a helicopter go down, and there was a captain, or not a helicopter, a plane go down. I think it was what, 37, whatever it's called, went down, and they went in and rescued him. He was a captain, and then a few days later we hear that they were trying to take the uranium, and they went in and they got caught, and then they got into, then they lost a bunch of planes and all this stuff happened. Complete just lied to us, right? And then now they're talking about this helicopter went down. They're saying Iranians blew it down, but yet we supposedly took out all their military and all they have. I mean, all this stuff. So you don't know where we're at. We never know what's going on, and we probably shouldn't know what's going on because it's a military operation. I get it, but we're not in a war. We're definitely not in a war. But every time he talks about we're almost done with the war. Or 40 something times he says that we won the war, but yet we're still there. So I don't know what's going on. It doesn't make sense to me. None of it makes sense to me. I don't know why we're fighting a war for Israel, but it's becoming more and more clear after you look at everything that we talked about tonight. It does sound like what the people are saying, that we got basically bamboozled into getting into this war because of something that wasn't true, like they're going to have a nuclear weapon any minute and all that stuff, which they probably do have. They probably have them already. I mean, like you would think that, and it's just, this is the whole thing, that they say one thing and it's something else, and it's something else and something else. You never know what the truth is. So I guess I should call my military buddies and see what they have to say about it nowadays. Maybe I'll have Mike come in and we'll talk to him about it when he's on a trip, right now. But when he gets back, I'll see if he wants to come in and talk about what the real thing that's going on with this Iran war is, because he was 32 years in the military, seen all kinds of combat over the years and all that stuff. So he knows the truth about what's going on. But I think we're fucked. I think this is going to last for years, my personal opinion. But what do we got? Oh yeah. This ought to be fun. Stand by.
But maybe above all, the way in which American power has been reduced, and this is the saddest to say out loud, is that it is suddenly obvious to everyone, both in this country and around the world, that the United States does not have sovereignty, which is another way of saying American leaders aren't really in charge of America. They can make some decisions. They can make noises and give speeches, but big decisions, the ones that change the course of history, are not up to them. They're employees. They're not the boss. Now, who is the boss? Well, that's an open debate. But in this war, it has become very obvious, undeniable, and in fact, it's been admitted by this administration that the President of the United States didn't decide the time and place of this war. The Prime Minister of Israel decided the time and place of this war. Benjamin Netanyahu was in charge. Admitting that out loud, and of course it was known to everyone who was paying close attention, is a sea change in the way not just the rest of the world thinks about the United States, but the way Americans think about their own country. Because the premise of our system is that the people who live here are in charge of it and that they can control its outcomes by voting. We just had elections in a lot of the country, primaries yesterday. And an ever diminishing number of people march off to the polls with the notion in mind that I can change things with my vote. The war in Iran has taught us that actually on the big questions, the people you elect aren't even in charge. Someone else is, in this case, Benjamin Netanyahu.
Yeah, and that is the other part that I just don't understand, how we go from a president that is strong in everything, including foreign policy, and then now he's being dog walked by Netanyahu. Can somebody answer that question? I can't. I don't know what's going on. The only thing that makes sense is what we've talked about tonight. He's either compromised or he's made a deal, or he is. I don't see scared. I don't see that. I mean, he's 80 years old. I mean, he's lived his life. Unless he's trying to spare his kids or something, or his grandkids, or something like that, it doesn't make sense to me. Besides, they all have pardons already. They've, Todd Blanche gave them all pardons already. So I don't know what's going on. I don't know. I wish I did know, but stand by. Let's listen to what McGregor has to say about this whole debacle.
I think some people have actually gotten to him and showed him some factual information. I think he's absolutely seen the polling data, and he knows that his standing inside the United States is very low. And some people will say, well, you shouldn't follow the polls. Well, that sounds good in theory, but in practice, if you're leading a republic, that's not always a good idea. Somebody said, I think it was Lincoln, that said, with public sentiment, anything is possible. Without it, nothing is possible. So I think he understands that public sentiment is not with his policy by any means. People are not interested in this war. So that needs to be taken into account. I think that truth has sunken in. Secondly, I don't think President Trump ever wanted this war to begin with. I think he felt or knew that he was obligated, based on the promises that he made before he was elected, to produce the war. He's done it. I'm sure he regrets the hell out of it. He's now stuck, like a fly on flypaper, and he doesn't want to stay there. He wants to get out from under it. He's been looking for a way out. I'm not sure that he's got one at this stage. And then lastly, it was nice of him to at least convey the impression that he gave a damn about the rest of the world as well as about his own country. But we'll have to see if this turns into something concrete, Dan. I mean, he doesn't need an agreement to stand up and say, this has been a disaster for the global economy, and on those grounds alone, I'm ending this operation. That would cost him nothing. It would make him very popular around the world. Everybody at home would breathe a sigh of relief, and we could all get on with our lives. But he hasn't done that. And I don't see any evidence that he will at this stage. He's still obligated to the people that put him into the White House, and those are the billionaires that back Bibi Netanyahu. Well, it's a tough one, and I don't think he can get out and maintain the Superman suit he runs around in. He's going to have to take that off. He's going to have to demonstrate that he's a human being and that he is indeed concerned about something more than his personal standing in the world or whatever he thinks that is. I mean, quite frankly, Dan, I think he's about as popular as the Black Plague everywhere in the world today. So the only way for him to go when he's in the cellar at this point is up. And the way to go up is to end what he calls this extraordinarily successful blockade. I don't know what he's talking about, because we know the ships have gotten through. And increasingly around the world, it is not Iran that is blamed for the stoppage in the Persian Gulf. It is Donald Trump and the United States. So, Dan, on those grounds alone, I think he could come out and say it, but I think he's worried. I think he's afraid of the Israel lobby. I think he's afraid of what they might do. They control our Congress to the point where if he were to suddenly leave and the potential for impeachment reared its ugly head again, they could see to it that he was impeached and quickly replaced. I think he knows that. Now, this is the problem. This is something else that Americans need to understand. It's easy to blame everything that's happened on Donald Trump. but it's not his blame alone. This is a whole of government disaster. You've got everybody who's jumped on the Israel lobby bandwagon for war with Iran because everybody has their hand out. Everybody wants to personally profit in one way or another. The four stars want to retire and go into these financial firms and deals that New York City offers. And then you've got all of the people that are in Congress who want to stay on the gravy train. They want to be guaranteed perpetual office holding. The whole thing's a mess. So it's not entirely Donald Trump's fault. We need to understand that. And Americans, as they go forward into the fall, we hear all this about, well, you know, the fall elections. They need to ask themselves some hard questions. Does it really make any difference who controls the Congress? Well, if we think the Democrats are going to open the borders again, empty the jails, suspend the rule of law, yes. But other than that, there isn't much difference. And I'm not quite sure what Americans are expecting the Republicans to do because they've turned out to be the party of Israel first, period.
Yep. And that is a sucky thing to say, but it's the truth. And so, yeah, you know, they're going to, you know, if Democrats have an opportunity, what they're going to do right away is they're going to impeach Trump. They're going to impeach Vance. And then if they can get that to go through, which, you know, we got the Israel lobby that runs everything in Congress, then guess what happens then? We get a Jeffries in there as president. That'll be fun. That will be something, right? And that's probably what their plan is. I mean, they're probably sitting back waiting for this to happen after, you know, the midterms. You know, what do you do? I mean, you know, I think it's lost. My opinion is it's lost. There's not much to recover from. I think it's really lost. So one more from this topic.
Now remember, if we said something like you're about to hear, if we said it, we would be the crazy conspiracy theorists. We would be the anti-septics. But because he's saying it, the internet has no problem with that whatsoever.
The Goyim gets angry. The Jews in control. The Jews in control. They control the money. So who will control the money? You? You compare yourself to the chosen people. You don't see their blessing by God. It's good for you that they run the country and they run the world and they run economy. The whole world came to destroy the Jews. All the empires, all of them are gone, and the Jews remain always in power. That's unheard of. According to the laws of nature, the Jews should have died already in the first year after they got the Torah, when Amalek already came. They had no army, no weapon. They're in the middle of the desert with their children, and all of a sudden they are being attacked one day after the other. Back then already it was a huge miracle to survive. 3,300 years of pogroms and Holocaust and all kinds of wars and empire coming to Jerusalem to burn us alive. All those empires disappeared, and we are above everybody, always in power, always we are the head of the world. Imagine the world without us. The world would be 1,000 years more primitive. All the inventions in the world almost all come from Jews, mainly Israelis. Medicine, doctors, surgeons, biggest judges in America, all kinds of designers, architects, artists, musicians, big rabbis, philosophers. Try to imagine the world without the Jews. And the Jews are 0.25% from the population. And the Goyim gets angry. The Jews in control, the Jews in control, they control the money. So who will control the money? You? You compare yourself to the chosen people, you don't see their blessing by God? It's good for you that they run the country and they run the world and they run economy. I want to remind you that the United States was on a point of bankruptcy in 2008. Everything here was about to destroy it. And who saved this country? Ben Shalom Bernanke. He was the chairman of the Fed, the Federal Reserve. He was a religious Jew, Shomer Shabbat, even though in public he didn't show his yarmulke, but he would walk to synagogue on Shabbat. And he made some brilliant moves with the interest, bringing it down, bailing out banks, forcing the big banks to buy the small banks before the country will become a complete anarchy and chaos. People will kill each other here on the street. United States will become worse than Russia after USSR collapsed. And he saved this country, but they have zero gratitude. A religious Jew with his brilliance, this economist, Bernanke, Google it. You don't have to believe me. See the moves he made. You should teach it in schools. The country was on the point of all the banks will go bankrupt. You don't know what happened. I was in Wachovia Bank. It was this powerful bank. They went bankrupt. He forced Wells Fargo to buy them. He forced Chase to buy many banks. If not, do you know how much money people would lose? And the FDIC was up to, I think, 50,000 per account. That's it. People had millions in their account, life-saving. All of that will be wiped out. Big mortgage companies collapsed. This country in 2008 was in a disaster. And who saved the country? One brilliant religious Jew. Anybody appreciate it? No, nobody even speaks about it.
You want to know what else they don't speak about in Israel? That you can't get a DNA test. Did you guys know that? Kind of strange, huh?
Yeah, so that dude talking about the '08 crisis, which was a crisis for sure, but I don't think it was some Jew that turned it around. I don't know nothing about that, but that's just, the audacity of him saying that Israel saved, or the Jews saved America. We are overrun by Israel and the Israelis, and the whole thing, the Jewish culture, not the Jewish culture. Let me rephrase that. The Mossad and AIPAC and whatever that other one's called, they're controlling everything right now, and they're doing it through money. You'd think that a country that's so small that you can't even find on a map wouldn't be as powerful as it is, but it is. All the money comes out of the Jewish lobby, so it's crazy. It's a fucking wild. I don't understand it. Where are we at? Did you know, and this is props to Massey for sure. We're going to move on. The Jewish lobby, I mean, not the, I'll scratch that. The USS Liberty survivors came out. Tom Massey's been on this. And did you know that for 59 years, they have been basically told that they're not allowed to talk about the truth about the USS Liberty? Did you know this? So Massey's on it. He's doing a bunch of work with the survivors, and listen to what these survivors say in this small clip from them being up at Capitol Hill. I think it was Capitol Hill a couple days ago. Stand by.
I got a quick question for obviously the survivors here. What does it mean to have your story told at the Capitol? How long have you waited for this?
49 years.
59 years. We've been lobbying Congress for 59 years, but no member of Congress will give us the time of day.
Why do you think that is?
I have no idea.
Israel owns us.
Rob,
Put the microphone up. The crew was ordered to secrecy, not to talk to anybody, their wives, even each other. We were not. They weren't allowed to talk. I was injured seriously at the beginning, so I didn't get Admiral Kidd's thing. But he told them, if you talk to anybody, you can plan on spending the rest of your life in the brig or worse. He threatened them with that order, and. Luckily for us, the admiral that did the commissioned officers only said till the day he died, and 15 years later he died, and then we started talking.
Yeah, so they're saying that Israel was the ones that attacked that USS Liberty, if you didn't know. Where's that other clip at? I have another one about it that's in more detail. Let me see if I have it here or if I put it away. I might have put it away. I do that. Yeah, I'll have to pull that back up another time because I don't have it. And it's, yeah. So, yeah, the USS Liberty was attacked by Israel, you know, in 1967. Yeah, it was attacked by Israel. Anyway, I just want to play that. I want to talk about California for a minute. For those of you that are in California, you know that we had an election stolen from us the other day. Spencer Pratt, he's was running for mayor in Los Angeles, and Spencer Pratt is a comedian. He ran for office. He was ahead in the polls by a lot, and then California did what they do, which is mail in ballots until they had enough ballots to win. And Spencer Pratt lost third place over the two globalist socialists. But so afterwards, he came out with this video, and this video is very sparking, we'll say. It's a very, very in your face video. And check it out.
Now that the campaign portion of my mission to save Los Angeles is coming to a close and I'm moving on to the next, more interesting phase, listen, I've spent a lot of time slaying everybody. I've ridiculed everyone on the roster, and I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, I'd like to take the chance to apologize to absolutely nobody. You think you can get rid of me that easily? I know a lot of dim-witted jerks thought I was in this for a grift, that I was going to roll up and leave town if I didn't get into City Hall. It's just not fair. Hey, morons, I didn't get in this for political power. I got in this to expose this corrupt machine, and nothing has changed. You enjoy your worthless meetings in City Hall.
Nithya, you have all this information. You're running for mayor. Show what you're really about, or get the fuck out of the race.
I'm going to be lighting you up every single day, and now I don't have to worry about offending CNN viewers. I don't have a campaign laws hamstringing me now. It's war. It's 0 hour for Los Angeles. Angelinos are now stuck with two morons responsible for all their problems, and they have to choose between dumb and dumber. That's not a choice. That's the machine protecting the machine. And now every problem that plagues Los Angeles because of these two corrupt communists is going to accelerate, and the city will tumble headlong into the abyss. You have no idea how many major developers, hoteliers, business owners, entrepreneurs have been texting me saying they're packing up and leaving town. More of your favorite restaurants will be shuttering. That means less tax revenue. That means the city has to cut services, more potholes, less firefighters, less police patrols, more criminals, more drug addicts terrorizing your communities. And we haven't ended it. You have no idea how bad things are about to get for this city. Look at this place already. Weeds growing from every crack and crevice, graffiti over every square inch of public space, garbage, drugs, feces, burned up dogs, burned down towns, abandoned storefronts. This city is a mess, and you're about to reward the arsonist who torched the place with 4 more years of destruction. I know he's very bitter. My goal hasn't changed. I've been laser focused on stopping these commie animals, and I will stop them. If you think we uncovered a lot of fraud and evil in the campaign, just wait. We have some recordings of one of your exalted candidates doing and saying something that would make her resign in shame. I was saving it for the general election. Go ahead and pick your demon, certify your choice, and then you get to see it. So Karen, Nithya, ask yourself, is it possible that one of your employees may have a recording of you doing or saying something that would force you to resign in disgrace? Hope you sleep well at night over the next 5 months, because you know who hasn't slept well at all for the last 17 months? My mom. All my neighbors in the Palisades. All the moms who worry about their kids walking past drug addicts in front of their schools. All the business owners getting crushed in the LA economy, worried that they can't stay in business and feed their kids. Angelinos have been struggling for years now, all while corrupt politicians and fraudulent NGOs profit off the misery and fleece us for the tax dollars. Well, now we're flipping the script. I want all you awake at night sweating and worried about 5 a.m. when the FBI blazers bust in the door, breaking open your office, because I assure you, they're coming. You think your election was going to stop me? If you want to stop me,
you're going to have to fucking kill me!
Yeah, Spencer Pratt's on it. That is a great, that should be a campaign ad. They've ruined California, and they've really, really ruined LA. I mean, they want property. Well, you see what they do. Look what they did to Hawaii. They did it to up north California, down South California. If they want it, they just burn it down. And then they put, 15-minute cities or whatever the fuck they want, or a nice big stadium that they're going to build in the Palisades now, because if they want it, they just take it. And if you won't sell it to them, they'll just burn you out. A lot of people lost homes and they're pissed. And so I'm glad he's doing that. We're going to see if we can't get him on the show. He's doing good work. So, I want to do a reminder here. I want to play Bill Cooper. It's just a little reminder of what we're doing now that he told us that was coming. He told us this many, many years ago, 30 years ago, that this was coming, where we're at right now. Stand by.
What role in the Middle East again does Israel play in this?
Israel was created as the instrument to bring about the Battle of Armageddon and the fulfillment of prophecy, a war that will be so terrible, where nuclear weapons will be used, so that the American citizens and the other people in the world will get down on their knees and beg for no more war. And what is the answer to that? They're going to be told the only way we can guarantee no more war is if we destroy the sovereignty of nations and we come together as one humanity and government.
Right.
Now, I'm telling you, unless the American people wake up and stop it, starting in about 1996, the Battle of Armageddon will become a reality.
He laid out the blueprint for everything we're seeing today. He knew why it had to happen, he knew who was behind the curtain, and he knew what we should expect next.
Read the book of Revelations, whether you believe in the book or not, read it, because the men who are bringing this about are using it as their script.
This interview was recorded in 1992, and as you listen, you'll understand why his blueprint still matters today. Because he said it would all unfold exactly like this, down to the smallest detail of the script.
And I get people who still come to me all the time and say, Bill, you're all wrong, it's the Jews. The Jews are subverting the world. Man, it's not the Jews, it's not the Catholics, it's not the blacks. It's these men who belong to the ancient mystery schools, who meet in secret and decide the fate of the world. And they belong to all different races and all different nationalities and all different religions to the public point of view. But in secret, it's a different story.
He claimed the fate of billions rest in the hands of a small group of people. And their strategy, he said, is simple. Keep us watching the circus so we never look behind the curtain.
At the highest levels of all countries, they all belong to the same club. And we, the people, sit back and we watch this grand drama, which is being played out for our benefit, not theirs. If it wasn't for us, we wouldn't even have to do any of this. But you see, they just can't come out and destroy all of us because they need slaves. They need people to make their shoes and make their cars and mine the ore. They need worker bees, and that's what we are.
His name is Bill Cooper, and what you're about to hear is his warning to the world. He believed that if you don't spare the time to hear this message to the end, if you don't make the effort to understand it and finally wake up, then you're participating in the great deception just as much as they are. His words, not mine.
George Orwell was just like me. He was a low-level member of British intelligence who was appointed to a position high enough where he saw the same documents that I saw. And he tried to warn the world just like I'm trying to warn the world, only he wasn't willing to take the risk that I'm willing to take. So he wrote it in a book called 1984 and spelled out exactly what's coming as a warning to the people of the world, as a work of fiction. But you notice that that work of fiction really stirred people up because they knew that it wasn't fiction. In their heart of hearts, everyone who's read that book knows that it's coming.
Here's what Orwell understood. Control doesn't happen overnight. First you distract, then you divide, then you rewrite the rules so people don't even know they're being controlled. 1984 showed us the final destination. a world where nothing is true and everything is permitted except for those in power. For decades, that was just fiction. But now, more and more of the pieces are fitting together. The scenarios that were once ridiculed are beginning to look like the morning news.
Why is it that you are here today, or how is it that you are here today and you're not, conveniently taken away and put in a padded cell somewhere so that you can't speak of these things?
I can tell you this. I began to reveal information in 1976, and I was physically attacked on 2 occasions. My skull was caved in. That's what all these scars are here. On the second attack, I lost my leg. They visited me in the hospital. They had no intention of killing me. They were delivering a message to me. Shut up. And that was the message that came through loud and clear. And 2 men who identified themselves with identification cards who belonged to the Defense Investigative Service, which is really the Defense Intelligence Agency, asked me if I was going to shut up or they were going to have to do it right. And I told them, I said, you don't have to worry about me. I'm going to be a good little boy for the rest of my life. And I'm going to shut my mouth. And I did for 16 years. Kept silent.
Yep. Bill Cooper. But this is where we're at. I mean, this is the movie's being played in front of us right now. I mean, it's not even like some fiction. It's real. It's really happening. This is what's going on. And if you look at it, everywhere you look right now, and I was listening to a show today, like I always do, and he's like, now's the time to do something. And the problem is we are just comfortable with where we're at. We're just comfortable. This is it. Like, whatever they do, whatever they say, whatever they put in our face, we just take it. And it's time to stop. It's time to stop it. Like, you should have water filter so you don't drink the fucking tap water. If you're drinking tap water, you're poisoning yourself. Let that sink in. It's just true. Tap water is the worst thing for you. All the crap that they put in it, it's just, horrible. You should be eating good food, nothing processed. There's poison in the food. Just true. You should be preparing yourself for the worst times to come. And, if you listen to some of these people that are talking right now, by this time next year, the food's going to be dried up. I mean, maybe not as much here in the United States, but all those third world countries are going to starve because there's going to be no fertilizer. And we've talked about it quite a bit. This is the thing. If you're not preparing for it, what are you going to do when there is no food? Or, I don't even know how to say it anymore because I've said it so much and people don't listen. You have to take a stand for yourself and your children. You just have to. And everybody should be planning on how can I operate and not count on the government or only count on my what I have to operate, to feed my family, to take care of myself. Like, we have a garden. We do all the stuff to make sure that we can survive when the grid goes down or when the stores are empty, or when race riots happen or rioting or whatever is going to happen that may happen any minute. I mean, if you listen to the people that like the guy from Grid Down, he was talking about it. He was saying about what happens with food when there's no food or water for 3 days. What happens to people, how they start getting, like, when there's no food in your house. They're getting ready in the next 3 years to take away everybody's job that has an office job. Let me show you what I mean. Hold on a second. Stand by. Let me play this clip.
What's the message to American families who are scared by the rise rise of AI. They're worried that their kids are not going to be able to have jobs someday because AI
Well,
will
I'll tell
take
you,
over.
AI has been amazing because right now we have more jobs, more people working right now in the United States by far than we ever had before. And outside of the war, and I assumed the economy was going to go down, the stock market would go down 20, 25%. It's actually up.
He was supporting legislation that was bipartisan but mainly Republican backed that would give literal liability protection from state, local, and individual, and most of the federal government, other than the executive branch, to a whole list of top AI companies. And the legislation would create a board of tech heads who would have the liability protection, but none of their competition would. And Trump's now created a board and it has 9 people on it. Now, that legislation got shot down. He brought it back up last year when he got in office. It failed again. So he signed an executive order and set up the commission. Notice Elon Musk is not on it. Ensuring a national policy framework for artificial intelligence.
It seems to be, with Trump going into Iran, no matter who you vote for, you do seem to get a lot of the same foreign and economic policy in my country. You do seem to get military intervention abroad, and then kind of the tech and the financial sector dominating the domestic political agenda, no matter who's in there. And that's why all these tech CEOs are clustered around him in China. These are the same people that were with Biden and Harris, and censoring their websites to limit conservative speech when they were in. So they obviously view themselves as the actual government, and whoever the president is like a guy giving them a tour.
They might be half right.
I think they're more than half.
How much are you spending, would you say, over the next few years?
Oh, gosh. I mean, I think it's probably going to be something like, I don't know, at least $600 billion through 28 in the U.S. Yeah.
It's a lot.
No, it's significant.
That's a lot.
Citizens will be on their best behavior because we're constantly recording and reporting everything that's going on. And it's unimpeachable. The cars have cameras on them. All right, I think we have a squad car here someplace. But those kind of applications using AI, if we can use AI, and we're using AI to monitor the video. It's not people that are looking at those cameras. It's AI that's looking at the camera. No. You can't do this. It would be like a shooting. That's going to be immediately, that's going to be an event that's immediately, an alarm is going to go off. It's going to be, and we're going to have supervision. In other words, every police officer is going to be supervised at all times.
Just by these corporations and their operations with anything they say is AI, that means anything computers, being above the law, that creates a oligopoly of action, an eminent domain and total control, and they can toxic waste, steal water. They've already been caught doing it.
Data centers continue to use public water supplies without authorization. In Georgia, a data center campus consumed nearly 30 million gallons of water without initial payment, while local residents' taps run dry.
And then they are above the law and allowed to have all the energy they want from fossil fuels, but still they're going to have a lot of the green regulations on the general public, though Trump's backed off some of that.
So-called technology transition rule, which was crazy, forced companies to adopt specific high-cost refrigerants, massively driving up the price of transporting and storing refrigerants and various goods. Today's reforms will deliver significant financial relief.
Us eating beef is bad. Us having a car is bad. You having a space heater is bad. All these jurisdictions banning fireplaces and barbecue pits. That's all bad, even though that's part of the atmosphere and good for the earth. Methane's good. It's what holds the atmosphere in. We've always had mammals going around and other creatures passing gas. But now we got to shove tubes up the cows' butts in Canada and Europe and capture the methane and pump it into a mine shaft because it's deadly. But AI companies, they can do whatever they want. So when I was the first to say, almost 2 years ago when he's president-elect, I said, this establishes an AI dictatorship. I still support President Trump. People got really mad at me. They said, oh, come on, don't use a term like that. I read the damn legislation. I want to thank the viewers and listeners for keeping us on air the last.
So the reason why I played that is because the AI systems and the AI systems and the shit, come on, John, get your brain in it. And the data centers that are that they're currently working on is going to be so automated that if you have an office job, you're not going to have. They're going to use robots and AI to run office buildings and all that kind of stuff. In the next 3 years, they're going to push you out of your job after you train the AI how to do your job. Then they're going to use AI and robots to run offices, and they're automating it all right now, and they're doing it through these data centers and through AI. And mark my words, you're going to wish that you had a plan. And I don't know what the plan is except for having a job where you have to work with your hands, where you have to have a job like electrician or something. People like that, people that can program, a programmer that programs the information is going to have a job, but other people are going to be out of a job. And, they're talking about it right now. Ben Swan was talking about the AI data centers last week. He did a really good report. It was about 16 minutes long, and it breaks it down into layman's terms so you can really understand what they're doing. This is not a joke. This is crazy. And all over the news today, or all over not the news, all over the internet, all the different internet news sites, not like CNN, but Epic Times, different things like that. They're all talking about this right now, how they're saying that if they don't slow it down or stop it, we're getting in over our skis, because the AI is training itself to operate without human interaction. Just go look on the internet. It's all over the place. It's on all the different news broadcasts right now. It's crazy. So you just want to be prepared for what's coming. It's so wild. And I know I sound whacked out, and I'm really not. I'm just giving you the information. You need to know what's going on here. Like, this is serious. We all need to be talking to our representatives in our township and making sure that we're like, we don't want this, because once it's done, it's done. You know what I mean? So anyway, that's enough. God bless you all. Thank you for being here. Please subscribe to the channel. Please go to my description, check out My Patriot Supply, buy some stuff, restorable food, water filters, maybe need a generator so you can run your house. We have a 3200 generator that will run your whole house. It's a little one too, and it's badass. They work great. I have one. But please just support us best you can. We really do appreciate it. God bless you all, and we'll see you tomorrow. Good night.